the biggest thing for people, like how we travel. Like, you think that it's like, okay, whatever tool that you're using to travel with, you think that thing that's guiding you is keeping you on a straight path. How do you know that? How do you know it's a straight line, you know?
I remember when Antonio was building his map, he did look at declination and inconsistencies in shipping line or shipping travel routes, especially in the south. Like the further south, the worse it was.
I think that's always been the problem of map making and placement of continents and continent sizes. Like, people have always just worked off of like the idea of somebody else having everything placed where there are, you know, in relation to one another, and or the sizes of the continents in relation to another. You could tell, like, different maps have always got it wrong. And so, like, I think it was yesterday, a guy was in here, not in here, but in the other server that we're in, was asking for, just give me a map, give me a flat Earth map. But really, their globe Earth overall worldview map is not consistent as well. Like, how can you depend on that being the exact layout of all the continents and the positions of things in relation to where you are? How do you know that?
So, like, what part of the map is wrong?
Well,
it's correct. Within purpose.
You're asking what part of the map is wrong. How is the map constructed to be right? Whoever asked that.
The only thing wrong in the map, it's because it's a Mercatored map. Some countries get distorted.
Really? What is it? Okay, what's the construction of a cartographer's like way that he makes the map? Like, how does he do it, Arthur? Because you seem to have you're very informed, right? I want to know how you're so informed that you know that something is right. Show me that you're informed, sir. How does the cartographer actually make the map?
I don't know how they make the map.
Then why would you say it's correct?
And why do you say it's false?
Did I say it was false? I say that there's inconsistencies in the different maps that they're showing in comparison to one another. So you have to first present what you think is true, show us a standard, give us something to say that, okay, we got a gold standard here. This is the map that we should be working with. What projection is that, sir? What map projection is that we should be using? And then any other map that comes against it will be like, okay, that's not right because we have a standard. What map standard do we have, Arthur?
So to prove something is true, I have to do 7,000 years of human history and science to prove something is true.
Okay, you're trying to go from a premise where something is already true. How do you know the thing that you say is true is true? How do you know that? You don't know that, right? Would that be the answer? Because I'm going to speed things along here. You don't know how it is true. Is that correct?
Okay.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem is your logic. You think something is already true and you don't know how it's true. So we're asking you, if you're so informed, tell us how this is true that you think is true. But the other problem we have is that you don't know what map to point at to say that something is true. You wouldn't even know where to start. There's hundreds of maps, Arthur.
I know.
How would you know where to begin?
I know.
You see the problem? This is the problem in logic when we speak to people that think that the Earth is a globe. You guys think there's already an answer out there. There's a certain layout to the Earth and everything the way it looks. So we have to go by that standard. And now I'm asking you, what standard is that? Show me the map that you think that's showing the Earth the way it looks like. Show me that map.
Sure, I'm just a normal dude.
I know that, and what I'm doing, yeah, Arthur.
It's not for some.
Hold on, Kiri, 1 second. What I'm doing right now is showing you that you're just a guy who thinks that there's something that's true that's being presented to them. I'm showing you this. I'm walking you through the fact that you don't know what's true. So you can't say, "Well, show me a map, Flat Earther," because you don't even know what's true. So that's what I'm showing you right now, Arthur. You and everybody else who think that the Earth is a globe, you think there's an answer to this question. Because you already have something right now, like you have a standard, and I'm showing you that's not true.
Consensus, Avi, it's a common consensus. But
okay, now let me ask you, Kiri. Common consensus. Hold on, I do want to talk to you about it. So, Kiri, I'm going to speak to you, Kiri. Relax. I'm going to speak to you. So, if that's hold on, Kiri. Yeah, wait a minute.
To explain his arguments,
dude, you need to relax. You need to just relax. How do you know the consensus has already agreed on something that's true? That's all I was going to ask you.
It's common knowledge that is taught in schools. So
okay, what map? Right, what map are we talking about, Kiri? Because this is a subject right now. That's what we're talking about. The map. Which map are we talking about?
All of our references from our education refers back.
Okay,
to
thank you. Thank you for that. Which map is that?
Mercatored.
What do you mean, the globe? Which map?
No, the map projection in question. That is the standard for all knowledge for what everything is supposed to be. What map are we looking at?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
let me look it up. Yeah, it's called the I'm looking. If you give me just
You
one
can look it up. I don't care, dude. Like, I want you. Listen, this what I'm showing you right now should be educational for you. It's a teachable moment so that you can understand. Hold on, Kiri.
Sorry.
So that you can know what's true and what's not true. So now I'm going to put this in a truth statement. Is it true that you know that there is a standard for a map that we all use that you say is consensus that we all agree that is the true map?
Yeah, I'm from France. So in French we call it Mercatored map. I mean
Mercator. Yeah, Mercator.
Yeah, the Mercator. Yeah.
Okay, so the Mercator projection. Can you post what that? Can you
in the chat?
do that?
Yes.
Please.
Want to see?
Let's be on using the same.
That's the common. Yeah, that's the basic map. We are
okay. You see this map here, right? And does Arthur see this map too that you presented? Arthur, do you see the map that Kiri presented? Okay, would you agree that that's the map that we all use?
Yes, it's the Mercatored projection.
Okay, so the Mercator projection. Do you think that is the gold standard for maps? That is the one that we should all rely on as the one we look at to say, okay, that's what the Earth looks like, and every other map is going to have to compete against this one.
That's the one they use a lot.
Okay. Would you agree that this is the map that we rely on to say that this is what the Earth looks like? Masking.
Yes. Yes.
How about you, Kiri?
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Okay, so the layout of where the continents are is exactly what it should be in reality?
No, it's an extrapolation because.
Okay, so it's not. So the question is, it either is or is not where the continents should be. Is this where all the continents are on our Earth in relation to one another?
Yes,
in relation to one another, yes, through distance, but not in shape. I mean,
the size is
wow, we got problems here. Kiri's not agreeing with it. We got problems, don't we? Okay, so Arthur,
hold on. How can the distances be correct, but the shape incorrect? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So let me show you something else.
Because the shape, the distance dictates the shape. So they're both wrong or neither are wrong.
You can check the site.
The projection is used for. For illustration only.
Oh, really?
You can also the time zones. We use it for time zones and. Yeah.
Okay, so where's Arthur? Arthur, do you agree with everything that Kiri's saying?
I don't know.
Okay, he doesn't know. All right, so he doesn't know, but maybe Kiri's more informed, right? We're going with Kiri at the moment. Kiri seems to have a better handle at this.
Look like this on a globe.
Okay, it looks like that on a globe. But what you're trying to do right now is to figure out how you're going to put that flat map on a sphere, yeah? That's what you're doing.
I mean, if you fold it on a sphere, you can embrace like the shape and like give you a globe.
Yeah, you can put it around any shape, really.
That's the model that you're using. Right now.
Yeah.
What do you do with all the wrinkly parts that are extra sticking off? Do you trim them with a pair of scissors?
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, you'd have to. But here's the thing, right? I'm giving you guys something to think about. You've probably never looked at this argument ever in your life. Now it's time to revisit this whole idea. How do you know that is exactly where all the continents are? That's my question to you, Kiri, because Arthur is a little bit more behind than you are. How do you know that's where all the continents?
I'm looking for that.
Well, no, I mean,
like I said, if you okay, what's the chat?
So let me just get this straight, Kiri. You didn't know before this question came up, Kiri. Speak to me truthfully, dude. Speak to me truthfully. You didn't know any of this information that I'm talking about until I just now spoke of it, and you're looking it up right now.
No, I'm just looking for arguments.
I know. I listened to the words that I'm saying and answer. Respond to me. You didn't know this question that I'm asking you until I just now said it to you, and you're now looking up the answer.
I mean, before you're questioning it, I won't look it up on Google.
No, I know that you're looking it up. I get it. But you didn't know the answer until just now looking for it.
Yeah, my knowledge is limited. I mean,
okay,
it's been years.
So all right, it's been years. So Kiri, think about this, okay? I'm giving you something to think about. You and Arthur both had the idea that you think that you know what the Earth layout is based on a map projection that's been shown to you, but you don't know how they have obtained this information. Is this statement true?
It is true. To an extent, yes. It is true.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
So now I'm bringing it to your mind that you had an idea of what you think the Earth is based on a map projection, the Mercator projection, which is what you presented, but you don't know how they've obtained the information as to how that map was even made.
I mean, cartography is one thing.
Okay, both of you speaking at the same time is not going to work.
Cartography is one thing. I mean, that's what we use to draw maps.
Yeah, that's a nice word, cartography. But what do they do within that method?
In order to have full knowledge of how the shape looks, we need to send satellites in outer space. So
you said satellites, and Arthur says navigate. Which one came first?
Navigation came first.
Navigation, yes.
Okay, so navigation came first. So what do they do in navigation to obtain, the physical world reference to what the
measure distances? The measure distances.
Really? So how do they measure distances?
time span from a point, a specific point. You measure.
What'd you say? Time spent? Is that what you said?
You have 1 point, and you measure the distance between.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
By time spent, by looking at the stars.
Okay, so you don't know, right, Kiri? Kiri, you don't know?
The motion of the stars.
Be honest. I want listen. When you speak to me, I want you to be honest. Do you know the method or not?
I do not, but I was referring to.
Thank you. You do not. That's where you should start to investigate. Right there, that point where you say you do not. So here's what I'm showing you. Right after all this time, you've taken information in and just thought it to be the true case. The Earth looks exactly what's been presented to you without any question. Now I'm giving you the opportunity to look into and investigate these questions. And now that we're doing it, you can't just presume that you already know the answer of something like, "Hey, I know what the world looks like." You can't know that because right now we've drilled down to your thought process. We've just figured out there's a gap of knowledge. You don't know how things were constructed to be true. So now now's the time.
You haven't presented any evidence in the chat. So.
Yeah, the challenge is right now to figure out how cartography is done. So you got to figure that out, right? So does Arthur. And then once you start to realize
I send you multiple.
Kiri, just relax, bro, relax. Once you figure out how it's done, then you can present a case for how you know the methodology.
Like I said earlier, I send you multiple things in the chat.
Yes, you send multiple things, but that's information that you just curated right now.
You also send yours.
Yeah, Kiri.
It works both ways.
Kiri, you're not. Yes. Look at the bigger picture here, right? This is the greater point. You didn't know prior to this moment in time about how cartography is done until I even questioned you about it.
Then
Kiri, you always thought in your mind that this was already something that was just done. Everybody knows, and the information that you're receiving is something that's true. You and everybody else in here have taken that for granted.
Show me how cartography should be done. How you measure.
Well, the question is, why have you been carrying the notion that you've thought that the Earth was what you perceive it to be based on something you don't know? How they've obtained.
That's not what I'm saying. Show me.
No, that's what I'm saying, bro. This is what I'm saying. Like the fundamental problem. Yeah, hold on a second. The fundamental problem is that you think that things are already known and that we shouldn't look back and research and figure out maybe what was the method that they've obtained this information. This is what I'm trying to get you to realize. Critical thinking. Hold on, Kiri. It's not even. Listen, I'm not countering something that you're presenting. I'm actually getting you to. Getting you to realize. Hold on, Kiri. I'm getting you to realize that you didn't know the information existed of the methodology.
You said that 20 times.
Okay, so are you actually going to research, or are you just going to tell me that I need to rebut something you said?
I'm going to do more research. I'm going to be more knowledgeable on how to defend my arguments in terms of what I know, right? But
you don't know. That's the problem. So you don't know.
Like I said earlier, I presented you multiple arguments, multiple illustrations
of something you don't know. Of something you don't know.
You didn't counter-argue. So
I did. I said you don't know the information that supports what you just showed. Okay, so the Mercator projection is what you presented, yes? And I asked you what was the methodology that they constructed this map? What was your answer?
No. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Yes, that's how it works, dude. Like you can't present something.
It's globe versus flat.
No. That's you not knowing what the Earth is.
There's no discussion. It
is a discussion. It's an exposition about you don't know what you're talking about.
No, there's only you refuting globe arguments.
No, it's me refuting your lack of ability to explain something you thought you knew. That's what it is.
Okay, I tried, Xavier.
I'm exposing the fact that you thought you already knew you had the answer, but you don't really. Because when you presented the Mercator projection, I said, how did they obtain this information? You came up with tits. You didn't know. You don't know.
I tried to ask you to come up with...
Okay. Say, what?
What about the old maps?
What about old maps?
They already knew the shape of the countries.
How do you know that, Arthur? How do you know that?
We know because we have old maps.
Okay, great. We have old maps. How did they figure that out? What was the method they used for those old maps?
Navigation around the country.
Yeah. Around the country. Go ahead and tell me the method that they've obtained the information of the shape of the continent. Go ahead, since you know.
They went around the country with a boat and drew it.
Really? How did they do that?
How did they, for example, get distances between locations?
No, I'm talking about the shape, not...
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to be sailing, that's going to be a coastline, so you're going to have features along the coastline that you're going to need to demark distance between.
Yes.
You're not... How? Yes, you're he doesn't know how. He's basically Jedi's feeding you, Arthur, and you're disagreeing with him, but he has to tell you this. This is what I'm trying to get across to you guys who think that you know what the Earth is based on it being a globe. You don't have information to support the case that you know what you're talking about.
The UN flag is interesting.
Oh my God, dude! Like really, you want to go to the UN flag? Yeah, Kiri. Here's the fundamental problem. Is the way you process information, brother. You and everybody else who thinks the Earth is a globe process information as in here's the information, I accept it. That's what it's just a wherever you get this information from, you've just accepted it. You haven't challenged yourself of how you know what you know.
No. I mean, generalism used that map.
And why should we believe you instead of
it's
common?
Okay. So it's not about believing me. It's in how you process information. How are you doing that?
Eric Dubé and Generalism used that map all the time.
So who cares about those guys? Did they tell you how they got the map?
First.
Oh yeah. So let's put it this way. Did Eric Dubé tell you how?
You idiot! Stop saying dumb shit.
Did Eric Dubé teach you how to look at the UN map and tell you how he constructed that as a flat Earth map?
No, I mean he used it in.
Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, who cares? There's a lot of people that can be fallacious and have their reasoning to be questioned. It doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter who they are. You could question anyone, right? How do you know that information is true, right? You can ask that from just about anything. And if they can't support the information they're presenting to you, then how do they know what they know? That could apply to anyone, myself included.
Let me add something real quick. Is old boy here? Are you saying that the AE projection is wrong?
I'm sorry, you're asking me?
Yeah. Is your current understanding that the UN flag or the AE projection is wrong?
No, I mean it's very interesting. I mean I wanted to add it to the debates, and from what I recall, Eric Dubé and Generalism,
they're not here.
Always use like that portrayal of flat Earth.
Okay,
I want to see the flat Earth map. If you
don't worry about that. You need to worry about what other people do that aren't in this room. What do you say? Is this map wrong or is that map right?
I mean that map makes sense because it's the Earth, right? It's the continent. You can clearly see it, but the thing is, it's a dot. It's a site that pinpoints.
Okay,
right,
let me help you out. All maps are wrong. It's called a reification. When you say this,
especially that UN map, I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah, that map is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to look at why it's wrong. Why you think it's wrong?
I'm just sharing that to challenge you guys to share.
No, you're not challenging us, bro. You're not challenging us. We're challenging you. It's how you're processing. It's how you're processing information.
Still, I haven't seen any.
He's trying to. It's like this is more narrative nonsense. That's what he's trying to do. Create a narrative. Oh, flat earthers don't have a map. We're aware of your narrative nonsense, right? We have a map, but you have no way to check it.
Well, where is it? I want to see it.
Okay, and then what?
We've been talking for flat.
Hold on. After you see it, then what?
Show us the truth.
And what you're going to say? The Earth don't look like that. Well, how do you know what the Earth looks like?
It'll be more food for thought and more arguments for the debate.
I'll ask you again. You're going to look at it, and then what?
May I throw a hammer into this?
We can discuss it.
You're going to compare it to something else, right?
No, so you can rely on, I don't know, a common ground for the discussion.
Okay. So there's a map.
You can't even think critical.
Hold on. And unlike you, I can tell you how this map was made. Okay. So this map was made using shipping times, like how long it takes to travel by ship, and the the official areas that individual countries report to the UN. How big is your country? Okay, 200 something square miles. Okay, so that's what they report. This is how this map was made. Okay,
you're talking about the UN.
Before you compare it to some other map, listen, this is the problem. You guys will say that map is wrong. You have no way to say that map is wrong because you don't know what the true map is. That's what Andy was asking you. He wants to know what's the true map so we can figure out any other map, what to compare it to.
Everything is wrong about the UN map. I mean, the shape of the continent and everything.
How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know?
Because we measured it.
Oh, really? Show us.
He doesn't know how.
For the millennials.
Show us.
The problem.
No. Show us.
What do you mean show us?
Show us.
I already showed you the Mercatored map.
You're just
that's the most accurate map we have.
That you're trying to cash it. You're trying to write a check your ass can't cash, dude.
I respect your perspective, but you haven't produced any map of the flat Earth.
How do you know that's what the Earth looks like? What are you comparing it to?
He's like,
did you see the Earth
always
from that
questioning and never producing any.
Hold on, dude. You're spiraling, brother.
Okay.
Did you see the Earth from that point of view?
No.
Okay, so you don't know from that. So how do you know that's what the Earth looks like? The Earth you have in your head. The continents look like this. That's in your head because you've never seen it, right? But you're imagining it to be that way. How do you know that's the way it is?
Because I trust the science.
Right there. There we go. That's it right there. That's it right there. There you go, Kiri. That's what we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear that you guys say that you trust. You've never investigated this. These are true statements that I'm saying right now. But hold on, Kiri. Based on wait, just shut your yapper, bro. Yeah. What we're saying is you only trust, you don't investigate, you don't research, you don't do your due diligence. When you come to this forum and you think you have in your mind, I have the knowledge of the Earth being a globe. You don't, because he just asked you a bunch of questions you could not answer. And then at the end of all of that, you said, I just trust. That's it, brother. That's what all of this is based on your trust on somebody giving you information. Yeah. And now you have an opportunity to critically think about what you thought you knew and kind of go over in your head how you know what you know. But that's not for us in the discussion. You can do that on your own time, bro.
Earlier, but I'm not here to be disrespectful. I'm just here to debate. Come on.
No, this isn't a debate, bro. You don't have anything to stand on to debate. You don't have any knowledge based on what you just said. You just trust the information.
It's
So you don't
written
have
on the
knowledge, bro.
VC. Ask me anything or make a
Yeah.
claim to
So
debate.
thank you
It's
for
a debate?
thank you for
It's not a
yeah
debate?
thank you for
You have to make a claim to debate.
you have to
Then
make
what
a
is
claim
it?
to
If
debate.
It's not a debate.
You
what is it?
have to make. Go ahead, Chris. You
Okay,
tell
I have to
them.
make a claim. Okay, I have
You've
to
got
prove.
two things are fucked up with you right now. Number one, you're the most anti-science person that is in the room right now. As soon as you say you trust science, you just took the power of science away from it. Science is built on distrust. You verify, repeatable, observable, remeasurable, and falsifiable. As soon as you take that away and slap a trust sticker on it, it's no longer science.
I have to
It's just
question
a
everything that has
buzzword.
been taught to me and everything that I learned in
That's
school.
just a buzzword you're using now. For some reason, you won't explain or take questions on. So really, we should be doing an AMA for you. How did you take science, then call it
For
not
granted.
science, and call it something else? And number
So we
two,
can't believe,
if you
we
want,
can't believe anything.
number two, if you want to debate, you need a claim. First, say my claim is this. You haven't done either of these things.
I mean, a debate is an open discussion where we present arguments and we
You
can
need to
talk
look up the
about
word
it.
You don't have any arguments
have
to
to be
present.
so
You don't know how
aggressive.
anything was done. You don't know what the evidence is. Like, what are you going to argue? From
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you
Let's,
going to argue with something that you don't know? That's interesting.
Okay, I'm done.
That's not a
guys.
debate. Yeah, I know you're done. You're cooked, bro.
You win.
You're
You win.
freaking cooked.
I'm gonna let someone
So,
else.
I want to address the other guy. He was like,
Interact
so
with
we
you
can't
guys?
believe anything then. No, that's called an all or nothing fallacy. You have to use discernment. Every claim you analyze individually. You just don't make blanket, like, I believe all of this or I believe all that. I believe all my teachers. No, some of the shit your teachers say is false. Some of it's true. You have to not be lazy and parse through it all so you know what the truth is. There's no law that says you have to believe anything. Teacher said X and X. Well, you can choose to believe it, not believe it, or just have
This
no
guy-
opinion.
He's putting in the text, it's a complicated debate. No, it's only complicated because you don't know the answers to any of the things that have been asked you because you never researched them. Therefore, would you do that? Okay, imagine this. You go to a forum, it's a debate forum, and you present, the guy presents his case for the debate, and then the mic turns to you and says, okay, so what is your premise for the debate? Well, I'm going to present something that I don't know about, guys, and I'm going to open up with saying, I think this is true, but I don't have any way to substantiate it, therefore, I'm right. And that guy over there is wrong. Is that how you win?
Great analogy. Imagine you're
Okay,
debating who the greatest baseball player. Hold on, Arthur. Imagine you're debating who the greatest baseball player is, and you go in and you're like, Babe Ruth. Oh yeah, why is he the greatest? I think he hit like 1 million home runs or something. I'm not really sure. Maybe I think he stole like 1,000 bases. I don't really know. And they're like, shut up. Like, how are you debating on a side when you don't know anything about the person is that you're saying is the best? He could have freaking did nothing. He might not even have played baseball. That might be even be imaginary character. Like, you have no clue. You shouldn't be even. You should just be listening.
This really puts you guys
Are you done?
off
punching
kilter.
down, guy? Are you
Yeah,
done?
punching down, dude. This is a teachable moment, Eggbased. For those of you guys who don't realize, this is a moment of reflection. You should actually look at look at what you know and have an internal critique. What do I know? Take stock, Eggbased, is what we're telling you. And are you doing that too? Because we might even, you're like, I'm going to throw a hammer in the works. No, you're not. There isn't any hammers to throw. I mean, if you had something, that would be something, but you don't.
How about the Coriolis effect?
That's a derivative argument based on the fact that you already think the Earth is spinning on the premise, which is the Earth. You should be presenting how you know the Earth is actually in motion. It's a derivative topic.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not derivative because you.
It is.
No.
Dude, it is based off of the idea that the Earth is spinning. What do you mean it's not derivative?
How about air?
How about technology? Dude,
If
I want you to talk about the Earth. Talk about the Earth, Eggbased.
If I plot a flight
Nope.
plan without taking
Nope.
the Coriolis effect,
No,
into
we're not
account,
talking
I'll
about
end
we're
up
not
like
talking about a derivative
miles
topic just
away.
because you think you have an argument for that derivative topic. No, sir.
Right.
You have to go
It's
back
not
to the
killer.
premise.
It's
Go
not
back to the
derivative.
premise. Yeah, go back to the premise of how you know the Earth's in motion, so then you can have your little Coriolis effect. Tell us how the Earth's in motion.
Premise one.
Talk about
if
that.
the Earth were not in motion, then plotting a flight plan directly from one destination to another would be completely functional.
Yeah, that's illogical. That's illogical. Sorry, it's illogical because your premise is not true. The first premise is a subjective statement, which doesn't make it conclusive, which is not true. So premise one, you're already wrong.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and define those words you just used because you used half of them.
Yeah, no, you understand what I'm talking about. So subjective
don't.
means
I don't.
your interpretation of what that statement, the first statement, is incorrect because you just think it's true. It's not actually true. It's not conclusively true. It's not really true. It's just what
Right,
you think is.
So on a flat
Subjective.
Earth, a straight line between 2 points.
You didn't define GlobLarp, sir, so you can't compare.
I didn't
You
say
can't
GlobLarp.
compare. Shut up, dude. Whoever's in the background. You can't compare the Earth to anything that you think it is based on what you just believe it to be. You have to present the information of how the Earth is an actual globe to compare it to a flat Earth, which you don't have. We can
The
start there.
hypothesis is not that the Earth is flat. That's not the known.
Yeah, how do you know the Earth's a globe, Eggbased?
I'm sorry, Avi, for everyone.
You're going to have to sit down. I'm not going to allow people to interrupt. Sit down.
We're getting there. However, you've insisted that my first premise is completely subjective, which is
Yes, it
basically
is.
a non-starter.
It started with an if statement. Started with an if statement. You can't do it.
That's a conditional, not a subjective statement.
Well, you can't start with if. You have to start with something that would make the statement to be true. As in, the Earth is a globe, not if the Earth were a globe.
I'm
Start
sorry.
with a true statement.
I don't have to. I don't have
Your syllogism is flawed, sir.
I don't have to go to you
Well, then
and say,
yeah, that's
X, Y,
fine.
and
Then it's not
Z
true. Then it's
in
not
order
true.
for there to be a
Start with your
condition.
if statement, but it won't make it true. How about that? It won't be true,
Okay.
so it's illogical.
In the case that the Earth were a flat and level plane.
Sorry, but you're
Say
not
that.
proving that the Earth is a globe. No. This isn't evidence that the Earth is a globe.
I'm
Like
sorry,
I said before,
Let me try this way.
like I said before, you have to provide evidence that the Earth is an actual globe before you put it against. If the Earth was an actual globe, yeah, if the Earth was an actual globe, you'd have to present the case of it being an actual globe, and then anything that comes against it, whether it be flat Earth or concave or hollow or whatever it is, would come against the truth, right? That's how you do it. You have to first start with the true.
I got
Show the
premise
if.
one out about
Where's the if?
halfway,
Where's the if?
and you basically stopped me and said, nope, that doesn't work.
Okay,
And
dude,
then-
you got to think about it this way. You're saying if this, where is the this? You haven't demonstrated the if.
Because it's premise one. Have
Yeah,
you
so
never
where's the
taken
if?
Any course
You need to
where,
show the
like,
if.
academic writing is required?
Yes,
Like,
you'd have to
this-
demonstrate the if. You'd have to cite the if and show what
Right.
that if is.
So
Otherwise,
hold
you're
on.
just basically, it's a
So how does it
squawk.
work?
It's a vacuous statement.
work?
If you say, if the earth is a meatball sandwich,
If you present a formal proof of something,
you'd have to show the
establish
if.
premises.
No, you don't. Okay,
Establish
if you
premises.
say nothing,
you
a
establish your
vacuous
based
statement,
upon those
if you're
premises.
you're not paying attention, if the if is vacuous, meaning it doesn't have any form or function, it's just a word that doesn't mean anything.
So
If the earth is a
telling me
spoon,
if premise
then
one doesn't stand on its own, then the
there's
whole argument
nothing there. You haven't given the premise one. You
The
give
conclusion is,
vacuous-
yeah,
a
the
vacuous
conclusion is formed by two true statements in a syllogism that you're going to perform is that it's a logical statement. So you can't do that if they're a condition or if or maybe perhaps if you can't do it that way. Dude, it has to be two true premises, and the logical conclusion would be that it's born out of those two true premises. So can you do that? Two true statements.
not limited to two premises, and they don't.
It doesn't matter, but they have to be true. And if you're going to do it that way, like the statements themselves would be conclusive, because then it would be the two premises, or how you saying you want to add more, they have to be true. So start there.
The only argument that you'll accept is a conclusive, like assertion based
For the
on-
Earth being a globe, yes. For the Earth being a globe, yes.
You'll only accept a one-part conclusion based on two completely true axioms.
Yeah. Can you do that with the Earth being a globe? Let's see how well you can prove the Earth being a globe with that.
Your standard of evidence is preposterous, and I refuse.
No,
to
it's actually empirical, sir. It's not preposterous. That means that we're verifying and falsifying and repeating the test that we would if it were true, but it's not true. That's the problem. It is not true. So you can't do it based on the standard that would be empirical. So your argument falls flat on its face, pun intended. Any more for any more? You're not in a realm of let's just imagine the Earth being a globe. We're here to demonstrate to the public that the Earth is not a globe based on any information you can present. Guaranteed, 100%. We stand on business when we come into this room, and you guys should know that. If you want to come up against anything, then you better come in here telling us how you know the Earth is an actual globe. Not, well, if we think about it, perhaps, and maybe, and hypothetically. No, you better know that the Earth is a globe and provide evidence of how it's a globe, empirically. Otherwise, what have you got? An imagination? Of course. That's all you've been holding on to, ladies and gentlemen, is an imagination.
Space, man.
Okay, all the images from space. I can address that guy. So how are you going to verify that those images, the content of what's on those images is true? How do you verify that?
I mean, I've seen rockets launch.
Yes, that's great. Rockets launch, it's great. I'm asking for whatever they're presenting to you, right? The Earth looking like a globe. How do you know that you can validate that in any way? How do you validate that the Earth looks exactly like that image that they're showing you?
I mean, they're not going to edit the photo. I mean, why would they?
Oh, no. We're not talking about them doing anything. I'm asking for how you know they or you validate it. It don't matter. How is it validated?
Two eyes that I can see that it's, a globe. I mean, why would they
Okay.
edit the photo?
Yeah, you can see it. So your standard of evidence is I see something in a photo. I believe it's content.
I mean, it's live stream too. I mean, you can watch it.
I'm not worried about that, dude. I'm examining how you process the information, and it sounds like you're processing information like I see the image, I believe it's content, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll follow
Okay,
your.
so by that standard, people can show you Bigfoot, they can show you the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. All of those things are true as well because they showed you an image of it.
Okay, but there's no image.
Oh, really?
Of Bigfoot or
So-
Tooth Fairy or anything.
Yeah, there are. I bet you right now anybody can post any of those images I just said of the things that I just spoke of in the text chat right now. And you,
All right,
would
we'll move to
you
it.
would
We'll
have to
move to
believe
a different. We'll move to a different set of evidence because I'm not like
Let's
here
stay
arguing
here.
with you. I just want to hear your explanations.
No, you got to stay here because this is your worldview being evaluated.
Yep.
So using your worldview, all it takes is a photograph. You could use NORAD has taken photographs of Santa Claus for
That's
about
as a
40 years, 60
that,
years.
I'm not here to like debate you. I'm just want to hear your
I
explanation.
know because it's
This
not a
is
debate.
Your worldview is being evaluated right now. You came in here and said, if the Earth is flat, how would you explain a photograph of Santa Claus taken by NORAD?
Santa Claus doesn't exist. I'm not here to like debate you guys.
There
I'm
you
here to,
go.
like,
How
I
do
wanna
you
know
know,
your
bro?
explanations for these.
Yeah, the explanation is
living in the North Pole.
Here's the
giving
explanation.
presents.
Yeah, here's the explanation. You guys that come in here and think that the Earth is a globe, the explanation is it's not a globe based on your information. Otherwise, you'd be able to tell us how it is. Yeah, you'd be able to go through it and say this is empirical fact. You can know this to be true. You don't have that, so it's an exposition on your thought process. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So now that's where we're at here. We're showing you kind of a mirror. I'm showing you a mirror. This is how you think. It sounds pretty ridiculous, right? When I actually put it the way I did. I'm giving you the exposition so you can start to now analyze information critically. Now you can go back and say, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I had, a wrong way of thinking about this stuff. Maybe I can go back and try to rethink.
You guys think the Earth is flat, right? Like, but how do you?
No, we don't think we know.
Okay, you know the Earth
Sorry.
is flat. So how do you explain the sun? If there was a floating sun, why would it not illuminate the entire Earth the entire time?
Okay, have you critically thought about that question you just asked?
I want to hear your explanation.
No, I'm asking you. Have you critically thought about the question you just asked?
Yes, I have critically thought about it. Please.
Okay,
explain.
let's examine the components of that question. You're asking me, how can I think about the sun moving across a flat plane?
No, I'm asking why wouldn't it light up the entire plane the entire time?
Right.
Why is
So
it
let's talk about that. So the sun illuminating the entire plane. What gives you the indication that would be the case? Let's critically think about it. What gives you the indication that would be the exact case?
If I have a light bulb in my room, which I do right now, when I turn it on,
Is that comparable
I keep
to the
it on.
sun?
Yes, it is. The sun is like a light
How?
bulb.
It's like a light bulb, but is it exactly like a light bulb, or is
Okay,
it?
let me hear your explanation. I want to hear your.
No. The explanation is your critical thinking about this question.
No, I'm asking for an
we're
explanation.
dissecting.
I want to hear your explanation.
We're dissecting the components of the question, right? So you're
I'm not
trying to
asking
give me a question.
I'm not asking for you to dissect the components of the.
Yeah, we are
question.
doing
I'm asking
that.
for an
Yeah, we are doing
explanation. I want an explanation.
So the explanation can only be given to somebody who can critically think about the information that's given to them.
I want an explanation. Otherwise,
you will get it. Yeah, you will get it. But the thing is, you don't know how to handle the information. That's the part that I'm getting you to ignite.
We'll skip the handling. I want to.
We're not
skipping.
Question, but you answer his first. We have an explanation, dude. Just hold on to your ass, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're getting. You're
the first person to broach this question. You're not.
So,
all right, well, let me hear you guys'
We've heard this question 10,000 times. It's not new. We have an answer, but you need to answer his questions first.
All right, all right, I'll listen.
Yeah. So the problem is that when we start giving you explanations and spoon feeding you, you don't know how to accept that because the process of how you critically think about things is not. It's vacuous. It's not there. So in order for you to consider what we're saying, you have to be able to understand components of your question. So if we're talking about the sun, do you understand light attenuation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so in different mediums, light attenuates differently. Yes.
Yes, yeah, they do.
Okay, so is it possible that the lights from the sun is not reaching every part of the earth because of how it attenuates through the air?
Well, I mean, air is not like water. It's not a stick. If you're underwater,
I'm not saying it is.
If you're like underwater, it's going to be thicker.
Also,
but
I'm
not saying it is.
Like water is completely dark in 400 meters. We're just talking about thousands of miles, but we're talking about thousands of miles.
I'm not saying it's like water.
Why doesn't it attenuate like? All right, how far is the sun up?
You just proved Alpha's point. You can't follow along.
That's what I've been trying to tell him. Like,
I'm asking you, how far up is the sun? That's all I'm asking. How far is up? How far?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with the information that's.
I mean, that would affect how much the light.
Sam, with the information that's given to you, you can't process it. It's difficult for you to do that because you've never done it. So what I'm telling you right now,
I'm asking you.
You're not doing it now, sir.
How far up is the sun? How far up is the sun?
So this is the problem.
How is it irrelevant?
Okay, I'll tell you how it's relevant. Because we can compare the brightness of when the sun's at noon versus when it's on the horizon.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's 23,000 times less bright. That's just at the horizon.
See,
pardon me,
dude. This is the problem. This is why you can't understand.
If it was 23,000 times less bright, then it would be 23,000 times as dark.
That's right. It's 23,000 times less bright. If you looked at the sun at noon, you'd burn your eyes out. But you can look directly at the sun when it's at the horizon.
No, you cannot. You'll burn your eyes out.
Yes, you can.
Oh my God!
Have you ever looked at the sun at noon with no eye protection? You're gonna burn your eyes out.
I said, did you not follow? You cannot look at the sun at noon. You'll burn your eyes
just
out.
said you
But when
can.
it's on the horizon, why are you talking over me?
At the horizon,
why are you talking
cannot
over me
look at the
again?
sun with eye protection. I'm explaining.
You can look directly at the sun when it's on the horizon. Directly at it and not burn your eyes out.
Beach right now at sunset and try to look at the sun, I'd burn my eyes out. That's basically
No, you
correct. I can see that with my two own eyes.
You're just a liar.
No, you wouldn't.
You're just a liar, bro.
I live
Everybody
right
knows
next to
that's
a beach.
incorrect.
Okay, I'm going to show you a photograph of a setting sun, and it's obvious that you can look directly
Okay,
at the sun.
I would like to see.
Everybody seen this, Sam. You're just being disingenuous, bro.
I'm not
Everybody's
being
seen the sun at the. Yes, you are. We've all stared at the sun at the sunset and sunrise.
Yep.
We all have done this.
All right, let's see this.
Yeah,
photo.
you've never been.
Everybody's done this, bro.
You've never been like a
You've
romantic
never
guy.
seen the sunset. You had to look away. Oh, I can't look at the sunset. I'm burning my eyes out.
There's literally pictures of people sitting and looking at the sun on the sunset, bro.
All right,
That's what romantic. Hold on, Sam. Hold on. Let's mute this clown real quick. Just hold on a second. There are literally thousands, if not millions, of photographs and romantic encounters people have staring at the sunset, bro. You're saying that nobody can do that because they'll burn their eyes out. You're such a freaking clown. It's making these statements.
Yeah, this is embarrassing for you right now.
My God, sir.
What are you guys talking about?
We're talking about how this guy says it's impossible to look at the sun during the sunset, and just how embarrassing that is for someone to be that clueless.
And or the implications that you guys who think that the Earth is a globe cannot critically think about the world around you. That's the big elephant in the room right now. You guys come in here, oh, the Earth is a globe. Yeah, you've never thought about how it's a globe. Yeah, that's the problem with the guys that come in here, and you think you have these logically constructed arguments, and they're not. They're just not. So we're going through and talking to everybody that comes in here, and guys, because like we want you to engage too. You've never had this conversation being brought up to you as like revisit how you know what you know. Now it's being presented to you, and you guys don't know what to do. You're losing your freaking minds. You're saying illogical things. Like, that's just what it is, man. Whenever we bring this up, this is what happens to you guys. It's like your brain turns into spaghetti. You can't even think straight.
It's like severe brain damage. Imagine someone walk into a forum, like any channel, not just this one, any channel. Like you could go through the list. I got it minimized right now, with all the channels here, and you were to join them and say, "Hey, they're talking," and you tell them, I've never seen the sun because I can't look at it." And they say, "What about sunset?" And you start arguing with them about sunsets. What would they do?
You're going to tell them they go blind if they do it, and they're all like, "Well, we've all done it," and they're like, "No, you'll go blind."
They think you're like some idiot troll. You're trying to get a reaction. Like you're rage baiting. This is the dumbest shit ever, dude.
I posted 2 photos of sunsets in the chat. You probably couldn't even read a book to the freaking light from the sun in one of those. And I posted a graph from the astronomical from astronomy website where I get my number from. I didn't just make the number up out of my head.
Sam doesn't have an argument.
I'm letting you guys talk. I mean, you guys got mad because I was talking over here.
Okay,
yeah, what did he just say? Did you hear what he said?
You can see that the sun is not the same brightness on the horizon as it is at noon.
Yeah, concession is in order. Go on, Sam.
In fact, if you look up on Wikipedia for meteorological visibility, it'll tell you the farthest you can see at sea level due to the clarity of the air is 256 kilometers.
So can I ask, why does it go, under the sea when it sets?
It doesn't go under anything.
So why is it setting? If I might ask.
Because
it's a function of perspective.
Yeah, things that are higher than your head, things that are higher than you, as they go away, they appear to approach the horizon, the vanishing point.
It's a function of perspective, Sam.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because you've never thought about it, yeah?
I have thought about it, but it doesn't make any sense.
That's some bullshit, bro. Okay, so let's do this. Hold on, let's do this, right? What is perspective? We'll do that. What is it?
It's how you see.
Yeah, and how do our eyes see, bro?
With your eyeballs.
That you don't know perspective, do you? If that's your answer, you don't know perspective.
You asked me what is perspective.
And it's not with your eyes. With your eyeballs is not the answer. How does vision work, brother?
You take in light, photons, into your eyeballs, and your brain processes that information.
There's the sun. There you go.
No, we're talking about image formation.
Hold on, AJ.
We're talking about image formation. How does an image form? How do things look? Everything converges to a vanishing point. Right? Trace posted a GIF in the a hallway GIF, right? That's how things look. The ground appears to ramp up. The sky appears to ramp down. You wonder why the sun goes down? Because why it looks like it goes down. It's not actually going down.
There's a lot of images in the side chat for you to look at, Sam, to kind of put an example of what we're saying. This is what your vision is doing functionally outside in the world.
Yeah, just like the hallway appears to be coming together, you see the ceiling appear to drop down, but it's not actually dropping down. You're not trapped in the tunnel. You can keep going. It's just perspective.
The tunnel don't become a pinhole.
So that's the answer to your question. Why did the sun go down? Well, it's a function of perspective.
Okay, I have a different question. Can I ask?
No, you're. Hold on. Let's see if Sam has. Just hold tight. HX, Y, or whatever. Sam, go ahead.
I've heard that the gravity works by stuff moving up at what is it, 9.8 meters a second? Is that how it works?
No. Next question.
How does gravity work?
We don't make a claim.
What is it?
Nobody knows how it works. We can only describe it. We can describe that things fall. We can describe how fast they fall. That's all we can do.
Define.
So, I'm asking, like, that's your explanation for gravity?
No, that's the consensus within the heights of academia. That's what they agree upon there. They don't know. They can describe it. They can measure it. They're trying to figure out new theories for it currently.
Yeah, so the cause and effect relationship, in the understanding of cause and effect, you can only understand the effect. You don't know the cause. Right. That's it. And no one does, I would put it that way. The theories that you hear about what gravity is only the ideas of men trying to put to what the cause could be, and not what it is.
Okay.
Anything else? We want to go to the other guy, so.
Yeah. Okay, so you deny the photo evidence published by space agencies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you deny it. Okay.
No, I have no reason to believe that they're authentic. I'm not denying anything.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you that is something authentic. Okay. When you grab a telescope.
How do you know that?
Because you can test this yourself.
I can see the Earth with a telescope. How do I do that?
No, you're not Earth. You grab a telescope and you look at any stellar object that is not Earth. You look anywhere in the universe and you will see that they appear as a circle. And the fact that
not Earth though.
Okay.
But they're not Earth, right?
They're not Earth. But do you think it is statistically possible?
Then hold on. Then why would I think Earth is like them if they're not Earth?
But do you think it is statistically possible?
No, why would I think
if everything else is a globe?
So Earth isn't a globe. Everything else. What do you mean? Why are you even putting Earth in that category?
Because Earth is a stellar object too, isn't it?
Okay, you just said a stellar object you need to see with a telescope. Now you're just saying Earth is a stellar object. Well, I look in the sky with my telescope. I don't see the Earth in the sky.
That's interesting. Okay.
You're just arbitrarily putting it in that category for no reason other than you want to.
That's a good argument. I actually like that argument.
Ninja's been killing it for the last 4 days, man. It's awesome.
No, this is a good argument. It is. One of the more well thought out ones.
You've adopted the Copernican principle where you think the Earth is not unique and it's just like everything else, but that is a philosophical position. It's not based upon evidence.
Agreed. And no answer would be a good answer too, because he's probably contemplating how to rebut that, but there isn't any.
There is no rebuttal.
I did like it when he said statistically. That was good. I mean, statistically then, because there's more bacteria on the Earth, I should be a bacteria because there's more of them.
We're actually, I think the most dominant species is like some little freaking microbe that's in the dirt. It's supposed to be like 100 million of them per freaking inch of dirt. We must be one of those.
No, it's like how close are we to a banana? Like DNA wise, like aren't we like similar? If we're going by statistics, yeah. But I mean, just think about it for the room, guys. If you have questions, you have to. One of the things that we do here is to get you guys to ignite your critical thinking. That's our mission. Our whole mission is not to convince you or twist your arm to say, "Uncle," to say the Earth is flat. Far be it, right? We want you to actually contemplate what you're asking. The questions that you present, have you thought about them at all? Because when we put the mirror up so you can realize that you don't have an answer, then it's just like, oh, you guys are wrong. No, you've never thought about the questions you're asking. So we want to ignite that critical thinking within you. It's actually not just to tear down, but it's to build you back up. Yeah,
I want to go back to this Copernicus approach, right? So why do you think the Earth is unique after everything else in the universe?
Because there's life here.
What does it compare? What can you compare what that's on the Earth to anything you see up there? HYX.
I mean, we orbit the sun.
What's in orbit, bro? What's in orbit?
Orbit is
the Earth orbits the sun in the first place. Have you seen that? Has anybody seen that?
But you can calculate it.
Really?
Different times.
Listen, you can calculate. You're not calculating the Earth, right? You're extrapolating Earth is in orbit from the way the sun changes.
Yes.
Right? When we see the sun move, that's what we actually see.
But what is defined as a year? You see, the sun goes back to the
tropical year. Like, yeah, but it depends on what type of year you're talking about. There's a couple different. There's a draconic year. There's a tropical year. There's a sidereal year.
I'm talking about the one that is accepted by the Gregorian calendar.
Well, maybe
one revolution around the sun.
Can I ask a question?
Hold on. I was going to ask that.
Let's finish this. So the only real year, okay, is the tropical year, and that's like if you took a stick and on the equinox you stuck it in the ground and lined it up to the sunrise. After 365 days, when the sun rose on the equinox again, it would line up with that stick.
Yep. That's the one.
365 times until the fourth year. Then it would be 366 days until it rose again at the stick. Okay, so that's what a year is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not the orbit of a sun. It's when the sunrise comes back to the stick.
I have a question, real quick. Hold on, guys. This is a moderation question. Is there any way possible, because we're running an event right now, right? It seems like it. I'm looking at the events. There's us and the vegans. It seems like it. Like when I click events, I think us and the vegans are having an event.
Oh yeah, it says Flat Earth Q&A. Oh,
So-
that's why it's hopping.
Well, yeah. No, what I'm saying though is, can we just throw this up to a staged event so we can have speakers, and then we can bring people up that want to participate, and then bring them back down, so we don't get the,
Should that make
guys
people in here?
just throwing their bodies in the gears.
I mean, that's up to you, man. I wish we could just switch this channel to a stage, man. That would just make it easier.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it. Hold on, guys. I think it can do that. That's why I'm saying if I turn it into that.
I'm fine with that.
All right.
Can I ask that question real quick?
I just don't know how to do it. I don't know.
Let me.
I don't know if I have the power to do it. Basically,
Let me just see here.
Is the stick guy flat earther?
Stick guy.
The stick guy.
Yes, you gave the example.
Yeah, for the tropical year. Yes.
Yeah. We calculate the 1 year to orbit, not a stick. Firstly, if Earth
No.
is flat, there is no orbit, right?
How do you, do you observe an orbit? Are you watching the orbit and see when the Earth comes back to the same place?
Yes, that means a year.
Oh, really? From where do we see that?
How can you see a round movement?
What?
And you are observing that from you're inside the orbit. You can see other orbits in the galaxy, right?
Really?
Yes.
Okay, show me in a full orbit. Post it in the chat. A video or time lapse or whatever of a full orbit.
I'm setting something up, but holy smokes,
you, brother, nobody has ever observed an orbit ever. No human being has ever observed an object orbit around another object. We've inferred orbits from seeing celestial objects transit other objects, but we've never seen a full orbit.
Wait, like would under your gosh, what's the word? Under your explanation, would like other stars, like their planets orbiting them, count?
Yes.
Planets other than what?
Like other than our solar system, like exoplanets.
Dude,
Oh
do
my
you know
goodness.
how they infer the existence of exoplanets? Do you know the methodology?
Yeah, they use the light method where the planet.
Yeah, they measure brightness curves, and if it dims and gets brighter, then there's a planet there. They don't see planets. They infer it from changes in brightness of the light.
What about direct imaging though?
They don't have direct imaging.
They don't have direct imaging.
Yeah,
Look in chat. This is what they see. Look in chat. This is what they see, and then the bottom image is what you get.
So which pixel is planet 7?
Hold on, let me see the thing has updated.
Or all those planets in the red circle? Is that where they all are?
I don't know. I just added the red circle, just like maybe over here.
I mean, like this. This is what I'm talking about. Hold on. I posted the GIF in the chat.
Really?
That's not what they see, dude. Do you think it's a photograph or something?
This is a time lapse using one of the NASA's telescopes.
Time lapse of what?
A star.
Yeah, like how is this
star
data
132
captured?
light years away?
I think you're just too happy to accept anything that they give you and put it onto your narrative as you think that you're some floating speck of dust.
Like the question
in a
I was
galaxy.
gonna
Can you tell us how this image? Can you tell us how this was generated? This GIF.
Yes, this says it in the article really quick.
Like, what was the instrument this was captured with, and how was that data taken and generated into an image?
This was used by taking imaging data of the extraplanetary solar system collected over the last 12 years.
Imaging? What wavelength of light was it?
Do what?
What wavelength of light was it?
This was in ultraviolet.
So this is an you're saying that this is an ultraviolet image of exoplanets.
Yes, this is a.
Okay, how far away is this? How
133 light years.
In my head, because they say a lot of stupid shit that's not possible, such as the black hole image. You can't take images that are beyond the diffraction limit, so they claim that they took that and it's 1,700 times beyond the diffraction limit. So they're claiming to basically break the regulator criterion and just physics and everything. So I need to know if this image is beyond the diffraction limit of ultraviolet radiation. Like, how large is the telescope?
This was used taking imaging data. Let me see what telescope it's using.
Only thing I need to know about the telescope is the diameter.
Let me check really quick.
Can I ask something?
Go ahead. Is it in relation to the topic, Kiri? Or are you going to take us on a tangent?
Yes. What is AU, astronomical unit, and how is it measured?
Oh, interesting.
This was the telescope was the Keck Observatory in Mauna Kea.
Yeah. Well, Kiri's question: is it to Sam or to us?
Oh, to Sam, yes. I forgot.
Okay.
Astronomical unit. I don't remember.
How did they obtain that, Sam?
They used imaging data by the Keck Observatory in Mauna Kea.
What?
Measure light.
Yeah, using ultraviolet.
I mean,
I don't know who asked the diameter, but it's 10 meters.
But how do you measure an astronomical unit?
You tell us, dude.
Yeah.
Well, waiting for. I think Sam's going to answer this one.
Wait, what was the question? How do I measure what?
An astronomical
unit.
The one astronomical unit is the distance between the sun and the Earth.
Okay. How was that measured?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No, thank you for what? He didn't tell you how it's measured?
It's measured by
it's the distance
between the sun and the Earth.
Yeah,
how is it measured?
One astronomical unit.
Yeah, that's great. That's a standard. So how did they measure that?
What do you mean? Like,
How did they measure that?
The orbit of the sun and the Earth. Yeah.
The distance from the Earth to the sun.
Which is 93 million 93 million miles.
Okay, thank you for the fact.
Right there in Google says 93 million miles, dude. Right there, says it right there in Google.
Okay.
So how do we get that number? How do we get that number?
That's the distance from the Earth to the sun.
Yeah.
How do you know that, dude? How is that measured? You're dancing around.
You can. Okay, this is how they do it scientifically. They take the light time from the sun. How long
we need a priori knowledge of the distance to time it. Because you need to know the time it left the sun, right? And then time it, and then now you know the distance. But you would already have to know when it left the sun.
It's 8 minutes.
That assumes you already know the 93 million miles, dude.
That's a calculation after the fact. That's not a measurement.
Use your noodle, Sam.
You need the distance to then calculate the time the light takes to get here. Dude.
Critical thinking, brother. That's what we're telling you.
We can calculate the speed of light. Like I don't.
No, really, how do you do that?
Know the distance before we can say how long that light took to get
here. You can see how fast light moves in a vacuum.
We still need the distance. Why is this not getting through to you?
Because
I mean, 3 people, including myself, have tried to tell you, and I've said it 3 times now.
Okay, let's do it this way. Okay, there's you know the speed of sound, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how far away something is. You don't know when the sound left that thing because you're not at that thing. Because then you would already know the distance because you're there too. You hear a sound. How far away is it?
You can calculate based on how long the sound takes.
Yeah, we know the speed of sound 700 miles per hour. I know that's not the value. I'm just saying it's 700 miles per hour.
A little more.
You know the speed of sound.
Yeah, it's.
How far away is it?
You can calculate by how long it takes to reach you. So if it was.
Okay, when did it leave the emitter?
It depends on how far you are.
Round and round and round we go. It's going to depend on how far you are. Yeah. So how do we measure that distance to then calculate how long it took the light to get here?
We can calculate the speed of light in a vacuum, like I said earlier.
I'm going to slap him.
Okay, can I have your guys'
out of your mouth, dude. It literally came out of your mouth in conversation with Indio.
No, you need to understand this first before you jump onto something else. Otherwise, you're just going to do a disservice to yourself. Yeah. You already showed that you understood that you need the distance. That's how we calculate, for instance, the brightness of the sun. We see certain brightness here on Earth, but based on the assumed distance, we assume the sun is X bright near its surface. Just like based on the assumed distance, we assume it's this big. Did you not know that in the heliocentric model, they've moved the sun from 3 million miles to 93 million miles?
Yeah, Sam, hold on, Sam. But you got to focus on.
Model is where.
Hold on, Sam. That's great. You got to focus on Jedi's question, though. It's going to put you on track.
What was his question again? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear him.
How do we measure the distance from the Earth to the sun?
Okay, I'm going to read to you. So just to pause this and go back to what he posted. The image, which he pulled off of Wikipedia, it says the creation of the image is this. This footage consists of 7 images of HR 8799 taken from the Keck Observatory over 7 years, video made by Jason Wang, with data reduced by Christian Marcos, and orbits were fitted by Quinn Kenopaki, Bruce McNash, and Travis Barman, and Ben Zickerman, assisted in the observations. This is an animation. It is art. It is not a photograph of anything.
Yeah, but what they essentially do is they take those photos and then they...
Yeah, they imagine.
No, they just fill in the gaps. I mean, you can't just record that from
they fill in the gaps.
Already admitted art. Oh my god.
You see how you're using critical thinking right there, Sam? So let's go back to Jedi's question and use some critical thinking there. Yeah?
Yeah, but isn't that an orbit? Like you guys were denying.
No, just focus on the question. Just for once, dude. Use critical thinking once, you can do it again.
Well, hold on. I want really quick. You don't see an orbit there. Do you see any of those go to make a complete circle? I said what you will see is translations, but there's no observation of a full orbit ever by any human being ever.
If you took enough photos, it would orbit.
You just believe that.
But why would they fake that? I want to understand.
No, dude, no. That's tangential. Why would they fake that? That's tangential. That's tangential, bro. You can't go to some other topic. You're running away from the one that's being
topic. They don't have to fake it, dude. They don't have to fake it. They see a translation. They jump to the conclusion just like you did because they're irrational. That if we run this long enough, we'll see it make a complete circle. There's no evidence for that.
So would it just turn around and go back?
No, they haven't observed an orbit, bro.
You've never observed. The point is you've never observed, as in saw with empirical measurement, data, observation, no one's ever observed an orbit. You guys imagine it happening in your head. You see something fucking moving, you're like, well, if it keeps moving, it must go in a circle.
Okay, what about planets like Mars? We can see.
No, wait, stop.
We can see them orbit the sun from Earth.
Let me stop this guy right now.
You can see Mars orbit the sun from Earth.
I'm stopping you because you're not examining what's being said here. You're just gish galloping to another question. You have not witnessed an orbit. I need a concession here.
You can go.
I need a concession here, Sam. You have not witnessed an orbit, and that statement is true, right?
What did you say? I
You have not witnessed an orbit. Is that statement true?
You can go outside right now.
No, sir. It's either true or false. You have not witnessed an orbit. True or false?
Me?
Yes.
Personally?
Yes.
I have a telescope outside. I can
answer the question. Have you witnessed an orbit? Yes or no?
I can see Mars move across the sky.
Oh my!
Have you witnessed? I'm going to keep muting you until you give me the yes or no. Have you witnessed an orbit? Yes or no?
Yes, I have witnessed the orbit.
Okay, so now you're going to have to give us an example of what you witnessed as an orbit. Go.
He hasn't witnessed an orbit from the surface of the Earth with his telescope.
You can watch Mars go across the sky. I have 8
Hold on, my friend, calm
We
down.
watch Mars. We watch it go across the sky. Then what?
We can watch it come right back to where it was a year and a half later.
Right there it was, dude. What are you talking about?
So he doesn't witness a rotation then.
What we see
an orbit.
with the sun,
He doesn't
moon,
witness an orbit.
what we see with the sun, moon, and these planets is them move through the background of constellations. That's what you observe. That's the only thing we observe. These things move in relative to the background of constellations. They move through them, right? But you don't witness orbits. You couldn't witness orbits from the surface of the Earth. You'd have to be outside of the system to witness the orbits. Like you said, you see Mars go across the sky, and then you infer a model of some kind that's explaining an orbital motion. Okay, that's nice and it's useful somehow. That's not what you see.
So what do I see then?
Just like you described, Mars move across the sky.
Yeah, you see translations. You see other things translating other things, but you don't never witness an orbit. Ever.
You can see Mars disappear around the sun, and over the course of a year and a half,
It's not an orbit. It's not an orbit.
So how is it not an orbit? I want to.
You didn't just. What's an orbit, dude? You know the definition of an orbit?
Yes, a orbit is the going around I don't know the exact scientific term, but it's going around a large object like the sun.
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen
yes,
that?
you can. I just explained to you. You can watch Mars.
You did not see that, dude.
You can.
The definition is not witness, bro.
In a year and a half from now, you can watch Mars go around the sun and come back right where it was.
Said he doesn't know what it is, but he's sure he's seen it.
He gave the definition, and then he said that he's seen like exactly what the definition describes. He's witnessed that very thing. No, you have not seen something go around something else.
I'm giving you proof. I have seen it. I'm explaining to you what I have seen, and you're just denying it.
It's not an orbit. What you're describing.
Okay, what is an orbit to you then?
It's not to me. It's by the definition, Sam.
I just
by the definition. Yeah. You haven't witnessed what the definition describes.
I just told you you can watch Mars orbit the sun from Earth.
No, it's not an orbit. Whatever it is that you're witnessing, it's not an orbit. You just see Mars move across the sky. That's it. That's not an orbit.
Okay, what is it to you then? What is it to you then?
Mars moving across the sky. Mars moving across the sky.
Okay, so why is it moving across the sky? Why would it be moving across the
sky? Because that's what it does. I don't have to give you the cause for the effect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't know the cause for the effect. You can't ever talk about that. You just leave. Rage quit.
Yeah, he's inserting his belief there, and for a second there, you made him realize it.
That's good. It stung a little. That's probably why he's like, I'm out. Dude, I'm telling you, man, these guys don't engage with their own critical thinking. And that one instance he was doing it, he doesn't do it with everything else.
Yeah, he sees Mars go across the night sky, but he doesn't see an orbit. He imagines it's orbiting. That's why he sees it goes across the night sky. Those two things are not connected. You just saw it go across the night sky. The other thing was all imagination.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we got a lot of people in here, man. Oh, I couldn't start the stage, by the way. I think there's a staged event. I think staged events have to be ran through the VVEC or whatever. I think there's a staged event that's going to happen at 11. So I was thinking we started at 10. We're not going to get going until about 30 minutes in or 40. So I was like, nah, it's going to defeat the purpose of having it and taking it down by 11.
It's like only one event at a time. So they have their classroom schedule.
Yeah, I don't want to clash with that because that thing, most of these guys need to actually attend. That's important for these guys.
Well, and you guys.
Go ahead, Crit.
Okay, you missed an amazing freak out today on POL. This dude called Quack. he joined, and Father's Ranger triggered the shit out of him. And he ended up using some kind of bot, this Voltaire bot, and spammed the channel like 20 times a minute with some sort of like AI generated schlock about how dumb flat earthers are.
I dropped it in the chat 9 minutes after go.
There you go. I didn't know you were here. Yeah, you could tell the tale here. I'm trying to tell your story. Like, it was epic, dude. Like,
Crit, do you have your own server?
no.
Where'd you get the Crit?
I just looked for like tags that were available, and I saw one that said Crit, so I just joined the server and took it.
How do you search for tags that are available? Is that
on dashboard?
Huh.
It worked out kind of well because it's a Dungeon and Dragon server. So I was like,
oh yeah, that's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, that kind of works. You know, I'll go with it.
You sit on dashboard, huh?
Yeah, I went on dashboard, and it was like servers that are active with booths that have available tags. You can change those different search criteria to what type of server you're looking for.
Interesting.
It's like you could have you could set language. You could set by recently member count, newer, recently bumped, safe for work, not safe for work. Like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. People when they get out there, you're like, there's a lot of Discord out there. I mean, a lot. There is some weird ass shit too.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Got some good stuff going here.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It really, just for the humor factor, it's kind of fun to go to some servers that you're like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, oh boy, you're like, turn around, abort.
Hey, I thought you had your own server. That's why I was asking because it said Crit. I was like, dude, that's right on point.
Oh yeah, if I had, I know that'd be. I mean, I could do it, I guess, but I think you have to boost it 3 times or something to get it to have a server tag.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
a
man.
server just called Pimp or Simps. I wonder if you want to adapt that. Like,
that almost sounded something like it was a. You said pimps.
Yeah, I said pimp Freudian slip. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying pimp simps. You know.
Yeah.
Like, that could work. Anyways, we do have some other people in here, guys. If you're brand new to the topic, welcome to the room. 24/7, Flat Earth Discord on the English Hub server. You guys are in here right now. You want to describe to us about how you think that the Earth is a globe? Let's hear it, man. Come forth with your explanations. Yeah, that's a problem too, man. Like, I don't mind giving them information about flat Earth, but they're like, well, give me a flat Earth map. And then you're like, dude, do you realize there's no map that you have for a standard to then put it against if I give you one? But I still want a flat Earth map. I'm like, dude, the critical thinking is just not there.
A federal judge did order this morning that Trump must release a flat Earth map.
Really? Huh.
No, I'm just joking around.
Oh, it's
like some weird
Google. Google that.
Like, I mean, it's weird because you got these like liberal judges just telling Trump to do shit. He's like, nah, bro. Like,
we got Juzo, welcome. Ju Wilka, Kiri, Kloza, Lay 76, welcome. We also have Sasubi Fox, welcome to the panel. Good to see you here. Savas Laurent, Sleepy MFS. I won't say what that means, but welcome. All right, we got Woody, we got Violet. Good to see you back, Violet. We had a chat with Violet the other day. Violet's awesome. Fiona, welcome. Basti. Wow, good to see so many people popping in. It's awesome. So yeah, if anyone wants to say hi, if anyone wants to introduce himself, ask questions, or even make claims, try to prove to us that the Earth's a globe, and then we can shut the entire channel down.
Hey guys, I got a question for you.
What's the question, man?
Every once in a while, I'm driving. Whoops, I'm feedbacking. How do I get rid of that? I'm not sure.
It sounds better now. Try again.
Yes, sounded good to us.
Yeah, so periodically I notice these, home satellite TVs. Right, they've got their little off of the houses. They're kind of pointed up, trying to get some satellite, and it looks like it's going up into the sky, as we call it, but I also hear that it can be going to a tower, a local tower, and that's how they get the signal. Just curious what your guys' thoughts are on how they get those signals if it is pointed up to the sky. Thanks.
Yeah, so I think it's... Jedi, get some feedback.
Yeah.
I think it has to deal with the idea right now. The question you're asking is, you think that these things, that the technology that's above our heads is in the vacuum of space, right? Low Earth orbit, where satellites are supposedly are. So you're coming at it from a perspective of, it's how do you explain if I have information to substantiate in my head that it's orbiting around a globe? I'm asking the question to the flat earthers, how can you explain that it's otherwise? I think that's kind of what you're asking without asking, like what I just said. You're coming from that perspective, Jew Williker. Right?
Well, actually, I'm already convinced we are on a flat Earth. I'm kind of moved to the other side. Did that about a year.
Well, okay. So what convinced you that you're on a flat Earth? Like, that's interesting.
Well, we can get into that. That's another discussion. But
sure. Well, it's important. It's the foundation. It's the foundation, though. It lays the foundation for our conversation. So, literally. So, how do you know you're on a flat Earth?
Well, the best information that I have that tells me that is all of our measurements that we take here on the Earth as we build on it or navigate it or fly across. Whatever we do, we're always measuring the Earth flat. So that's like the
how is the Earth measured flat?
Well, we use something called sea level, right, as the basis for our flat plane. Whenever we measure a valley, we measure a mountain, how high it is. It's always with respect to a flat plane, and it's never varied from that.
Well, how is that method done?
How is that method? Every measurement that we see is always done with that. So
yeah, I know, but what methodology is it that uses this specific thing you're speaking of? There's a method.
Surveying, celestial navigation, elevation angles, and stars.
That's good. How does surveying take it into consideration?
I guess I would need. I'm not sure. I'm not a surveyor, so
okay.
But everything that I've seen when I've looked into it, kind of at a very high level, that's what I've seen. It's always with respect to a flat plane. All these measurements that we have.
Okay, so you understand or you know that the Earth is flat, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're asking the question that technology is above our heads, but it's operating over a flat plane.
Exactly.
Okay, so however the technology operates, does that negate the fact that it's operating over a flat plane or not?
No, it doesn't. I'm convinced that we're on a flat plane. I'm just curious about kind of how that works. That's all. Just kind of, it's a question.
Yeah, there's certain proprietary tech that may be disclosed, but however, there is some information out there that you could research how technology above our heads has been operating so far. So, and we could say not only that, but ground technology has been used to propagate signals, and waves that are given to other technology, like what you might have on the ground. And so it's not always necessarily the case that you're talking about, satellite dishes are using only to be aimed at devices that are above our head, but also could be used as, ground-based technology as well. So you could parse out the idea that it's not only the fact that people think that things are above our heads using satellite technology, but have been used as ground-based technology for a long time, like the LORAN technology. So if you can look into how they've been using triangulation in the past, you can see that it's been done with ground-based technology. So and there's a lot of information out there that can show you that ground-based technology is a great way to use triangulation to give you a point source of where you are in respect to those towers. So it's not only the idea that there's technology above our heads, but there's also mainly ground-based technology that shows.
Ivy, I'm sorry for interrupting. Can I ask a question to you and Indio and Grit?
Well, I don't know if Joe Williker is going to respond because I want to know.
No, so let me ask you this one. Let me ask you this one.
You can wait. You can wait. I want to hear his response.
Yeah, I mean, I could go research and do some more research on the supposed satellite technology and the various ground-based positions. And I have done a little bit of it, but I figured I would just come to you guys to this group because there's a lot more experienced people that have already done that, and I thought you'd be able to give kind of a higher level, more kind of quick answer than to do that research. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
LORAN technology has been known since the early days of the wars that have been fought to propagate these signals across the oceans. And it's not uncommon for people to think that that some technology is being produced in the sky that we're sending signals to. But at the same time, most of the signals that we know of can be utilized from ground-based technology. So it needs to be kind of researched a little more into how we can do that. And then once you do discover that it can be done over ground-based technology, it'll formulate a better understanding for you. And there's a lot of information to actually look into, Joe Williker. So it's not just me telling you that, with this one and done answer, you actually have to do some research of signal propagation over a horizontal plane.
On the principle.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate the answer.
Sure. All right, we got somebody in the background. Ben, welcome to the chat. I do want to take Kiri's question because I had muted him. I wanted to be done with Joe Williker, but
sorry.
That's okay. Kiri, are you there?
I interrupted.
Yeah, now the floor's open. What was your question?
Yeah, no, my question was very simple. I mean, I was asking Crit, you and Indio. Do you guys believe we went to the moon? I mean, everything from
Yeah, well, think about it like this, man. If the moon, think about it like this. If the moon was not in the exact place where we think it is, right? Like, let's say there's the idea that it's 200,000 miles away or whatever in the vacuum of space. What if it's not in the location where they say it is, and it's maybe just a place that you could actually go to? Who knows?
So you believe in the 1960s it was impossible to go?
No. I'm not making a claim to it. I'm just saying there could be a possibility that people can actually go to that place. There's no definitive answer to say that they would be within the realm of possibility. What I am telling you is there's no evidence that leads us to the fact that it actually occurred.
It's super relevant because the first time we pictured the entire Earth was back in Apollo 11 when they took the blue marble. I mean, the blue marble was the first picture we took. Yeah.
But you're critical thinking, right? How do we know that they can achieve the accomplishments that they did based on any information that you can validate? How do you know that they can actually do any of those things that they claim to have done? How do you know that?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
You don't know. Kiri, you don't know is the correct answer. So therefore, if you come out with a question asking us, how can we know? We'd be in the same shoes as you. Well, we heard the same story you did. We wouldn't know how they could.
I'm just asking
there's no evidence. There's no evidence to back up the information of what they say they've done based on what we've heard them say. There's a lot of hurdles they would have to cross. Yeah.
So you're talking for Crit, Indio, and.
I'm talking for myself, but at the same time, I'm giving you something to think about.
No, it's very interesting
you answered the question. You answered the question. You said, "I don't know."
If you don't believe we went to the moon,
it's not built on a. Listen, what they give you is a belief system, Kiri. They're giving you things to believe in, right? They're showing you pictures, videos. They're giving you stories. They're telling you they went to the moon. All of those things. But now you, as a critical thinker, have to analyze that information. How do I know what I know? And you said it correctly. I don't know.
So I have to question everything, like the entire.
Yes. Why not? Why not? I'm asking you. Yeah, Kiri. I'm asking you. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people tend to believe that we never went to the moon.
Yeah. Who cares? Who cares? They're people, not you. I'm asking you to critically think. Why not?
Millions and millions
all
of people. Yes.
Yeah. Who cares about those guys? You and me are the ones having the discussion right now. Your mind, my mind.
I want to know where your sense is at on that.
Our stance is: how could anybody evaluate the information if we can't do the things that they've done? Yeah,
cannot unless you go there.
Does that make sense? Well, think about it. It's empirical information, right? You're saying they've gone to a place logistically that I can't go to. So I'm going to say that I believe in that information. Okay, well, you're welcome to do that. Or you could challenge that information. How do I know they've done that? Look at all the things they said they've done. Does it violate any laws of nature? You have to think critically, Kiri. You can't just keep thinking that people are just going to blindly believe in everything.
The problem is if I question everything that's been done since the 1960s.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
How do you explain? Just one more argument and then I'm muting myself. How do you explain that we measured the radio waves? I mean, even the
radio waves of what, sir?
A radio wave is can be measured. It travels at the speed of light.
Yeah. What do you?
From the stations that were based on the Earth to the moon.
Oh, so you're assuming. Yeah, you're assuming things. Kiri, once again, you're assuming things have gone to the moon. Yes.
I mean, everyone knew that.
No, they don't know, Kiri. They believe just like you do. They don't know.
They measured it.
No, they didn't measure it. How do they measure something that they can't prove is actually measured, sir?
They measure the time it takes for a radio wave. You know?
Oh, you're just saying things now, sir.
Yeah, but you're not supporting that with how they know. You're just saying, well, we know things. Things have been measured. How do they do that?
By using tools. Yes.
Great. Yeah, by using. Well, they've done it by using a magic wand, right? That's basically what you're telling me.
I can't explain this. I
know. So here's the thing: when you come up with an argument, Kiri, it's not that, dude. It's just if you come up with an argument, you have to have substance to the argument. You have to know what you're talking about.
But even the Soviets, even USSR,
the US, who cares what other people, Kiri? Who cares what other people say? I'm only talking to your mind. How do you know what they're saying is correct? How do you know that?
Because I've been taught. Again,
you've been no. You haven't been taught. I'm going to make a distinction here. You've been told. Being taught, being taught means that you could explain to me exactly what they taught you. You've been told, which means that you don't know what they said. He just told you that's how it is. They didn't. Okay, so in other words, they left you holding the bags. They told you a story, but they didn't tell you any methodologies of how they are describing how things are done. You just accept the story. That it's just a slow story of how things are. You've just completely absorbed it. You haven't critically thought about it, which is what I'm asking you to do now.
Yeah, critical thinking, like you said.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that's an entire other topic. I mean, did we land on, did we went to the moon? Did we went to the moon? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can think about it like another topic, but what it is, it all ties into the same thing. They've given you a story, and now you're telling us the story is true. And we're like, how is it true? What are the components of the story that make it true? I don't know. I just believe. Okay. What do you want to do with that?
I shouldn't believe blindly what's been told.
Yeah, you're getting it. You're getting it. Yeah, you should take on. You should take on information, analyze it, critically think. Well, you should, what's wrong with that, Kiri? You make that sound like it's bad. You're like, oh, why do I have to question everything? Well, maybe you should. You don't know what you're talking about now. Maybe that should have been a good thing you should have done.
Okay, maybe another topic for another time.
No, I mean, think about it, man. I mean, like, dude, like, we want you guys to be curious, right? That's the whole point. But examination of the question, like looking into why you think what you think, and then coming forward with the best way to you that you can argue for it. You know,
it requires critical thinking that some people are not able to do it. Yeah,
you're getting it now. See, Kiri, you're at least look, man. If we've done anything today, is get across to your mind that you have to critically think about the things that you say, and then everybody else can hear you. Like, you know what, Kiri actually thought about this question. He's coming at this with substance. He knows what he's bringing forth here. Versus,
I've been always respecting your point of view, guys. I mean,
I appreciate it, man, and we only aim to inspire that more. That you critically think about the world.
I said it like 10 times. It's an interesting topic, and we can talk about it.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I'll talk too much. I'm muting myself.
Sure. You know,
I just letting everyone know I've just ended the event because the English class started.
Spoken to you guys before. I had a
not to me.
You know, yeah.
Round two.
Fight. Well, I mean, I consider myself, a globe skeptic. I'm open to the idea. So, how do you guys explain the flight patterns that you can go from one side of the Earth to the other? How does that fit into the flat Earth?
You got to think about this, right? Before you ask that question, I know you want to dive into that, and there's gonna be a lot of answers. But do you know a standard that you hold to that is the right idea, the right thing?
Right. Okay, so I don't hold to a standard at this point.
Okay, so how do you know the answer we're going to give you would be the right or the wrong one?
So I myself have flown over the Pacific, right? And you go from one side.
Did you answer my? Can you answer my question? Can you answer my question? How would you know the answer we give you will be the right or the wrong one? What's the standard?
The standard is it empirical? Is it does it
No. What I'm asking you though. How would you know that it's right or wrong? Any information we give you, how would you be able to determine what we're saying is right or wrong?
If it's reproducible.
Okay, do you have that now?
Oh no, that's why I'm asking the question.
Okay, so if you think there's nothing that can be done to obtain this information, do you think we're going to give you some information that could give you that specific information, something that's reproducible?
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I don't have the answer, so.
Well, this is important, right? So if we're going to dive into this and give you that, if we hear you say, no, this wouldn't work, I'm going to charge you with, you gave us the permission to give you something without you being able to give a standard to how you know something's right or wrong. So you can't say this is incorrect.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we can proceed forward. If anybody has any ways to.
Okay. I mean, I need something specific to work with. How do you think planes fly now across the Pacific?
Right. I don't
like
think
the route
that they fly in a straight
I mean,
line,
like well, let me start with how would flight paths prove a globe or a flat Earth?
Well, the idea is that eventually you would loop around back, right?
Okay. So your question's about circumnavigation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, no one's ever actually circumnavigated the Earth in its totality, like in a single flight. Right. So they always have to land somewhere, etc. Right. So in the idea is that a circle is a circle, right? Circumnavigation is flying around something. So I can go around my house, I can go out my front door, walk around my house, and go back in the front door, and that's technically a circumnavigation of my house. Now it doesn't require my house to be a globe to do it. The difference in the globe claim, the flat Earth claim, is we think we circle based on the coordinate system that we circle around the center, right? The North Pole, if you want to call that, or Polaris, if you want to call it that, right? So we call the direction of Polaris, we call that north. And if we travel perpendicular to that, we're traveling east and west, and that just goes in a circle around Polaris. Think about it, like if you had a string, right, and you tied it to a pole, and you held it tight and you walked around the pole, you'd be traveling in the same direction the entire time, right, east-west, but you would end up making a circle. Now, the globe thinks that this circle is flipping upside down and then flipping right side back up.
Right.
Whereas we think the orientation is changing left or right.
Okay,
Just no matter what you think or how your orientation is changing. It's a circle either way.
Yeah, I think that would line up more with the cardinal directions to begin with.
What would?
The idea that all the directions are just based off the poles, and They don't really circle around.
Okay, so this is where we get it's a little slippery when it comes to this, because it depends on what coordinates you're using. Depends on whether you're using a compass, which is different than using the sun, which is different than using latitude and longitude. So those 3 coordinate systems, they all have north, south, east, west, but those directions, there's an alignment mismatch depending on where you are. So it's commonly thought that compasses point north and south. This is actually not true. There's a thing called magnetic declination, and this is how much deviation there is from the direction your compass points versus what they call true north. And this can be as much as 90 degrees, right? You could look at your compass, and it says, hey, I'm pointing north, but you're pointing east in latitude longitude system. And then you have another thing, when I said the sun, right? If you look up how east is defined, right? East is defined in the Oxford Dictionary as where the sun rises on the equinox. So if you looked at the horizon on the equinox, wherever you saw the sun come up, that is defined as east, right? And then we define the rest of the entire coordinate system, that cardinal directions from there, that sunrise. But that sunrise also doesn't match. It doesn't match the compass, and it doesn't match the latitude and longitude. So it matches in some places. Like I said, there is coincidences where these coordinate systems all coincide and their cardinal directions all match, but that's not everywhere. You understand? Like if I'm in, like it would match like the sun direction, cardinal directions, and latitude and longitude cardinal directions. They would match on the equator, but they wouldn't match in, like, say, Tierra del Fuego or Santiago, Chile. They wouldn't match there. And the fucking magnetic compass, it generally matches in Europe and North America. But once you start going south into like Australia or the South Pacific, it gets way fucked up. It's way off. In fact, when they like Antarctica, where they say that is, compasses actually don't work there. They actually just spin and spin and spin and spin, and they never stop spinning. So, yeah. So the point is that the shit isn't as straightforward as you'd think. I mean, they teach us a certain way in school. That's very simplified, but that's kind of like not the way it is in reality. It's simplified for children. Because I hate to say this and not sound condescending, but the globe is a child's idea. It's an idea for children.
Right. So,
because that's when they teach it to you, right?
So, just for the sake of simplicity, where do the sides of the flat Earth have ends or
sides, bro? You don't think there's, right? We don't think there's sides.
Right.
So, flat Earth is portrayed, right, in the media and on the internet as like a disc floating in space with water pouring off the sides, right? That's the imagery that's shown in any flat Earth article on the internet or someone's thumbnail on YouTube. No flat Earther thinks that's the way it is. None. We do not think the Earth is a space disc. Because there is no outer space vacuum. At all. Okay, everything is above the Earth. The Earth is, like other people call it, the floor of the universe, if you want to call it that. And everything is above it. It's not an object in this randomly vast vacuum of outer space. That's not how we think of it. People think that we here's the cosmology, the modern cosmology, and we took the globe Earth out and we inserted a disk in its place. That would be stupid, and we don't think that. It's a different cosmology, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, well, fair enough. So, is it fair to say that our current navigation system is circular in relation to the pole, but not circular in relation to the surface?
Well, the navigation system, celestial navigation, is based upon the sky. It's not really based upon the Earth. You couldn't use just the Earth and find your latitude and longitude. Like if you couldn't see the sky, right? Say the sky was just like no stars, no moon, just poof, everything disappeared. How could you possibly find your latitude and longitude using just the Earth?
Right. Yeah. No, we depend on constellations, the sun.
Yeah. The entire coordinate. So the longitude is based upon the sun and the time of day, right? And we used the origin of that coordinate as Greenwich, England, and Greenwich Mean Time. So you can find your longitude if you have a clock and you know your time relative to Greenwich Mean Time. You can figure out what your longitude is. Latitude, you look up in the sky and you go, okay, where's the celestial equator? And what they use is typically a star called the first point of Aries. You use that, and then you can go, okay, that's 45 degrees above the horizon. I'm at 45 latitude. Right? So we use the sky for the coordinate system. You can't find it with the ground. And it was actually, 200 years ago, this is how they talked about it. They didn't say I was standing on the equator. They would say I'm under the equator. And they would say I'm under the Tropic of Capricorn or I'm under the Tropic of Cancer. They didn't think about it as being on the ground in the first place.
Right.
That's kind of like modern stuff. Yeah, and none of that. would prove the Earth is flat or a globe anyway. The only way to prove what the Earth is to look at the Earth, not really in the sky. Right? We have a simple proposition, and this is it. If the surface of the Earth isn't curving, what is it? Can you answer that?
Well, it's one or the other, right? Either it's curved
Well,
or flat.
if it's not curving, what is it? Yeah, it's flat. So if we can demonstrate that the surface of the Earth is not curving, specifically the surface of water, because they say, and from experience we know that most of the surface of the Earth is covered in water. Whatever that water is doing is what the Earth has to be. So if the water is curving, then the Earth's a ball. If the water is not curving, then the Earth's flat. It's simple. It's super simple. People try to think of it in a complicated way because that's how it's been sold to them. That this is a super complicated problem. You have to be a super smart genius scientist to figure it out. The smartest people in the world are the ones in history are the only ones that can figure it out. And you're just a lowly, shrub, and just trust what they say. But it's actually like a third grade geometry problem. It's not even a difficulty. And like the mathematics, like if you want to predict where the horizon is, this is like simple algebra. It's freaking none of this is complex. Like, you don't need to know what gravity is or anything like that, because even if they had a theory of gravity and it predicted the Earth is a ball, they would have to confirm that with an experiment, right? They'd have to go measure the ball. Here's my prediction. Here's my physics. My physics says, hey, Earth would turn into a ball. Okay, you have to go out and confirm that that's actually the case, that gravity formed the Earth into a ball by measuring the actual said ball. You don't just assume your theory is true. You have to test your theory in its entirety. Especially when you start doing like logical sequences, like, okay, gravity does this, pulls everything to the center. Okay, that means everything will get formed into the, what would they call it? Smallest possible frickin' figure. That figure would be a sphere, therefore Earth is a sphere. Okay, that's your theory of how it works. Okay, go out and measure that ball and see if that's actually true. And the thing is, we don't have any measurements that Earth is a ball. That's the problem. That's why we're all here. Because the one thing that would prove it, curvature of the Earth, as in drop over distance, when we go to measure that or anybody else, that drop over distance don't exist. So let me ask you, are you under the impression, like most people are, that the curvature of the Earth is just too big to measure the curve?
Well, I mean, it doesn't add up.
Well, do you think it's measurable? That's the one I'm asking you is not any way it comes out. Is it measurable in principle?
Is it measurable?
Well, yeah, is the Earth just too big for it to measure, that our instruments are not sensitive enough to measure the amount of curvature that it would exist in, say, 10 miles?
Well, that would be a denial of.
No, I'm just asking you, should it be possible?
No, it shouldn't.
Okay, so how much curvature do you think would exist in 10 miles on the 3,959 mile radius Earth they say it is?
What was it, like 100 feet of curvature?
Oh, no, it's not that much. That would be a lot. It's like 66 feet in 10 miles. So from eye level, right, from your eye level, the amount that the surface of the Earth should drop, or at the level of your feet even, how much it should drop, it's called the surveyor drop, should drop down 66 feet in 10 miles. So if you had a 6-story building, right, 10 miles away, the top of that building should be eye level.
Which is ridiculous, because I can look out my second story and nowhere near that.
Yeah, it's way more than what people think, and I'm of the impression at this point, I've kind of come to this realization, like maybe a week ago, that everybody has flat Earth evidence. They just don't realize it. That they've all seen too far. They've all seen observations which don't work with the globe or are impossible on the globe, but they just don't realize it because they've been told the Earth is so large, there's no way they could detect in any way the curvature of the Earth, no matter what they do. And the only way they can detect it is to fly 1,000 miles into the air and look at it. This is the kind of like the zeitgeist of this topic. Because I ask people all the time, I'm like, how could you test whether the Earth is flat or curved? They always say, get a rocket, go into space. They never say, measure the Earth.
Right.
I
And
mean,
you guys reject the whole premise of space to begin with, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And there's no way to verify any of that work product, right? Like, we can't test it. The only way we can test it is the only way to test photographs, right? There's only one way. Does the photograph depict something that actually exists in reality? Right? So if you saw a photo of a unicorn unicorns don't exist in reality. You know that photo's fake, right? You don't have to prove how it was faked. You don't care about what the status of the people are. You're claiming they took a picture of something that don't exist. And if they do say it exists, they're going to carry on and say, no, this is an authentic photograph of a unicorn. No one would accept that without other evidence, right? We'd want like unicorn scat. We'd want a fucking fur samples. We'd want maybe a sample of its horn. We'd want other things, right? Maybe a dead body, maybe a carcass, a unicorn carcass, right? We'd want other things. The photo wouldn't be enough. We'd want other material. We'd want material evidence. So this is how we evaluate space photos. Okay, you took a picture. You're claiming that, hey, this is what the Earth looks like. Well, what about in that image? Can I test on the Earth that's in that photograph that have to go together? And you know what all the space photos, what they show? They show curving water, right? Take a picture. They show the big blue marble. What's that blue stuff? That's the water. The water is curving. Okay, let's go test to see if the curving water actually exists in the physical and natural world. Well, when we go test, there's no curving water. So we know that the image has to be not authentic because it's depicting something which don't exist in nature. You know, this logical train that I'm following is flawless. There's no way to dispute it, okay? Because if you don't follow my train of logic, then we have to accept any image. Yeti, Bigfoot, Superman, Loch Ness Monster, we just have to accept them all. And then if you say, I don't believe that image, Loch Ness Monster don't exist, and I just say the image proves it. The image proves the image proves Santa Claus exists. It's a picture of Santa. Santa don't exist. Oh, you're just denying. Are you denying that Santa exists? I got a picture. Dude, there's millions of pictures of Santa. Are they all fake? Right? I could make the same argument that people make on the side of NASA and space pictures for Santa Claus. In using that logic, they'd have to accept that Santa Claus is real to be logically consistent if they apply that standard. That's why Alva was talking to you about applying a standard, right? A standard for determining what the truth is. If you apply that standard, principled standard, uniformly, you'll as long as it's sound, logically sound, you'll figure out what the truth is. Logic is kind of like a foolproof method of figuring out what the truth is. It's limited, so there's a problem with that. That you can't. There's a lot of things you're never going to know for certain. Okay, but there are things you can know for certain if it follows the proper logical form and it's sound logical argument with true premises and all that stuff. So, any other questions? Anybody else? This topic's not actually complicated.
Oh, hello. Yes, I have a question.
Okay. I see $50. It's not about the Earth. That's what I'm betting.
Well, I was just wondering. I see there is a YouTube bot in the channel here. Is that are you recording this?
Yes.
Boom! $50. Pay up, sucker.
Yeah.
You don't have my permission. You don't have my permission to record.
And leave the channel.
What do you mean? This is a public server. I'm a member of the server.
Yeah, but it's implied consent by the fact you're in here and you know you're being recorded and you're still here.
I need you to send me permission.
We don't have to let you participate unless you agree to being recorded.
I was here first.
Well, we don't agree. No, you weren't in here first. What are you talking about?
I was in the server where you were.
If he's going to act spoiled, just take away the privilege of being here.
See ya, buddy.
Oh, I know. I have the perfect solution. We're going to put you on mute, and then no one's going to hear your voice.
Why would you mute me? You need me.
No, because you don't want to be recorded. So we're going to mute you to make sure that you're not recorded.
But you guys would not have content.
Yeah, there is no but, dude. Then stop. Quit your bitching. Okay?
Actually, literally the username, it say 24/7 live.
Yeah, he hasn't implied consent. He's just being a little douche nozzle.
You need me for content. You better not mute me.
Me too.
Nobody is gonna mute you.
I need you? Yeah, we've been recording 24/7 going on like 7 years. We have fucking probably 100,000 hours of audio. We don't need you.
If there were no GlobLarp here, you would be a dead channel.
Oh, wow.
It's more than just you, so we can mute you and move on to someone else. Being as you don't want to be recorded.
Watch what happens if you mute me. Dead silence.
You won't get recorded. I'll tell you what.
No, I've been trying to get a word in. Yeah, I've been trying to get a word in edgewise. This idiot won't shut up for me to say something.
What do you mean? You've been silent this whole time.
Yeah, I've been yielding the mic. I go, here's some idiot we can farm a little content off, but it looks like he doesn't want to be recorded, doesn't want to be part of the channel, and he talks anyway. The dude's a complete idiot.
He needs to save him from himself, it seems.
Yeah, it's like, imagine joining the channel, any one of them, Ask a Christian, vegans are great, whatever, and then telling them, I joined the channel, and I don't want to talk to anybody. They'd be like, someone needs to call this guy an ambulance or something. Like that. He's in a schizophrenic break with reality.
Well, I clearly want to talk, but you need to ask my permission to record my voice on YouTube.
No, you can fuck off.
No, look, that is not the case. You're misinformed. We don't need to ask your permission.
You're going to hear this from my lawyer. I'm going to reach out.
Okay, yeah, let's hear from your lawyer. Let's hear from your lawyer. You can't afford a lawyer. You can't afford a lawyer. You're broke.
No, like seriously, like imagine someone reporting someone because they recorded it. Wow.
Some very weak people around without spines, it seems.
This is the worldview of the globalists, that they will join a channel with a bot in the channel with a big red dot showing live, that when you click on it, it tells you where to go. On a server, that part of the guidelines are you consent to being recorded by joining the server. Whistle through all of that and then say they're going to call a lawyer. Your lawyer's going to tell you you're a fucking idiot.
This is like they're doing a man on the street interview. He cuts into the interview and says, I don't agree to be recorded.
Yeah, it's like the thousands of videos you get of Karens complaining to people that they're being recorded and then telling them that they don't have that permission.
I need a form that I can sign that you have my consent.
You're the male version of a Karen. You're onto a Jedi. What is that? What is the name we give to male versions of Karen?
So quite.
Well, they switch back and forth. It used to be Darren, or it was Andrew, but I think people have started changing it to Darren.
Look, so this is a tactic. This is like a muting tactic. So we go off topic of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
There's too much truth coming out. So he doesn't like that. He hates truth. He wants everyone to be deceived and live in a freaking dream world. So let's shut him up and move on.
Yeah, what's this guy's name that's saying this stuff? Can anyone see his name highlighting? Is it Creation Bear?
Yeah, no idea. It wasn't worth paying that much attention to.
You said Creation Bear? Fucking what?
Yeah, it's like he walks into a grocery store and then starts complaining that they have security cameras.
That is not the same.
Are you still talking, dude? We're live.
Okay. Well, fine. You'll hear from a lawyer, but I'm willing to discuss the topic.
No, we don't want to talk to you. Go on.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no, you don't want to be recorded. We told you this space is recorded, so it's you are now consenting to being recorded by staying in this voice chat and talking.
Well, if I don't see a consent form in the next 24 hours, you're going to have big problems. So
anyway, need a consent form. You are consenting to this
service in YouTube.
Either way,
you accepted Discord's terms of service, and you are participating under those terms of service. So you've already accepted being recorded.
That's fine.
Yes, we just sent the consent form. Just allow 2 to 3 business days. Check me out.
Don't lose your case, man. I got the same lawyer as Benjamin Netanyahu. You're cooked.
That's fine. I'm sure Benjamin Netanyahu is also a global third.
Dude.
Now with the peace and dealt with your feelings, is there a reason that you want to talk with us?
Yes, I'm here to, like you're here in an echo chamber. I'm here to fix the problem.
Okay, so the very fact that you're here and other people are here challenging these views kind of defeats the point of you saying it's an echo chamber. It wouldn't fit that definition. But we can move on to something else.
Why would you move on? I'm here with
because the subject of the room is the flat Earth, not whether you think it fits the definition of an echo chamber, which it doesn't.
Listen, I'm willing to discuss the topic, but you're afraid.
Can we then? So we'll move on. Flat Earth. What do you want to know? What do you want to ask? What do you want to say?
Well, it's not flat, so I don't. Why
so you want to make a claim that it's not flat, so curved?
Yes.
Okay. Would you have any measurements of that curvature to denote whether it's curved or not?
We don't need to measure it.
We don't need to measure a surface to describe it.
No, we have pictures. No. It's all for you.
Pictures of it, pictures that I can verify myself, right? Pictures that I'm sure you verified yourself as well, yes?
They come from reliable sources.
They come, and how have you determined that they're reliable sources? Have you validated the information that they've given you somehow?
They are government entities.
Yeah, have you validated the information that these entities have given you somehow?
It's a reliable source.
Yeah, I know. So I'm asking you how you've tested for their reliability.
Listen, buddy, it's the government. They can't.
I know. So I would hope that someone would have tested the validity of their claim. Governments say all sorts of things, right? So let's. I'm just asking if you tested it. If you haven't, we can just say it's a faith-based argument that you've got. You believe an authority about what they've told you, correct?
Not faith-based. It's science.
You haven't verified it. You trust them. It's a reliable source. You said.
There's experts, science.
Yes,
people
experts who you trust, apparently.
They've worked their whole lives for this.
Yes, I know. I just want you to concede that it's trust and faith-based.
It's scientific-based. I don't know how you don't see
It's scientific-based. Is it the shape of an object, the Earth, is a question for science, is it?
I mean, kind of, sort of, yes.
Kind of, sort of, yes? Please give me a hypothesis for a shape.
If it was flat, then...
No, not if it was flat. You said that there's scientific evidence. I'm hoping that you know what science is so you can figure out whether what you've got is science or not. So I'm asking you, if you've got science for a shape, give me the hypothesis.
I don't even know why you're talking. You're not a scientist.
Excuse me. I'm asking if you know what science is to determine whether what the scientist said was true.
I trust them, and they're correct.
But you don't have a standard to hold because I don't think you know what science is. They could say anything and you believe them because they got a white coat on, right?
Well, eventually they'll be correct. They always
eventually like a broken clock.
Science is like hand over hand. They always correct each other, even if they make mistakes.
What the fuck are you waffling on about, dude?
Apologise for the language, but I've asked you several questions, and you are yet to give me a straight answer.
Yeah, he's very stubborn and naughty. He needs punishment.
What are you doing? I was talking to Jedi. I don't know. I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, I know. You don't like to talk to women, do you, Russian Bear?
No, I don't. Not in this context. I don't think you're an expert either.
Yeah, we should just stay in the kitchen, right? That Russian kitchen. Make you some Russian food.
Yes, that would be ideal, yes. But no, seriously, like, why are you a flat earther? I don't understand.
Because the Earth measures flat.
It's just
70% of the surface of the Earth, so we're told, is water. Water is observed, measured, and then practically used for things like engineering, aviation, navigation, and cartography as a horizontal reference datum. Horizontal is not curved. Therefore, the Earth cannot be a sphere.
You're only measuring a small patch of it.
I can give you a measurement now of 5,400 nautical miles just by measuring one elevation angle of a star in the sky. That's a straight line distance between me and its geographical position. 5,400, is that what? That's local, isn't it? Yeah. On the Earth.
Where did you get that number from?
Celestial navigation. I measure the elevation of Polaris above the horizon. I subtract that number from 90, and I multiply that number by either 60 nautical miles or 69 statute miles to figure out the distance along the surface of the Earth between my measured position to its geographical location.
Celestial navigation only works on a globe.
No, celestial navigation works on a celestial sphere, which you think's the ground. The ground that's measured from is a horizontal plane. The curve that you think is on the floor is the sky.
It is on the floor.
No, it's not measured on the floor when I utilise a right-angled triangle to figure out the distance of 5,400 nautical miles. Do you know what a right-angled triangle is?
Yes.
Good. Can you point to the curved line within a right-angled?
Well, it is on a point on the sphere, so...
No, a line, dude. So can you point to the curved line within a right-angled triangle?
I mean, on the Earth it works differently.
No, not on the Earth. I'm talking about the triangle. Where's the curved line in the triangle?
It just works differently on the globe. I understand what you're saying.
No, we utilise a right-angled triangle. Celestial navigation. We've just been discussing it for the last, 4 minutes?
But you can draw a tangent line off the surface of the sphere.
You can draw a tangent line, can you? Off of what, where, how?
The surface of the sphere.
So where would that be then?
Anywhere. It's because it's a sphere.
Anywhere. Sorry, it's probably prudent that I should point out on this point that when you measure the distance between you and the geographical position of the star, both you and the geographical position of the star are on the surface of the Earth. If you're going to be measuring tangents, only one of those two things is on the surface of the Earth. The other one's out in space. Which one is it? Is it you, or is it the geographical position of the star?
This guy's just yapping, chat. I don't understand what he's saying, honestly.
Yeah, bend over.
Flat earther cappuccino. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore, Jedi. What the hell?
I mean, you might be going for a while, man, but that was fucking awesome. You did really good.
Yeah, it was a good exchange. Gosh, you guys should play Globus more often. And you actually let him talk. I mean, that's when you first know it's definitely not a Globe believer. He's letting you speak.
He was cooking me so bad. I was like, just making shit up.
That was fun, man. I got right into that then. I believed you who you were saying that you was. That was really good.
That was brilliant, man. That was fun. You win the Glober of the Day award. Cyclone's giving you the Glober of the Day award.
Let's go.
Oh yeah,
and that's why we record. That had not been preserved. That needed to be preserved. That's a perfect showcase of why it's recorded.
Yes, sir. Kirk came in, he's like, you don't need to get consent. Oh, brilliant.
Fucking weirdo. I mean, these are guys who they know nothing about. They know shit about dick.
Facts.
Fuck all.
Wait, great, that was me. Like the whole time. That's a self-down to Marco right there.
Right here. This is what this was.
Oh, this is going to be a really good one. Are you recording?
Nice. You know that was CB the whole time doing that accent.
Oh no, I had no clue. Oh, I missed that part.
Got him.
Fucking amazing.
Nice.
But it just shows how well we understand their way of arguing and thinking. It's just, it's so incoherent that it doesn't matter who's saying it. It's so wrong.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. There's probably some people that are like, "Don't do that. That's a bad idea." I was just winging it, honestly.
No, that was brilliant.
W
Welcome to the
content.
channel. Welcome to the channel, Black.
Hello.
Hello, man. What brings you in here?
Late.
You're very late.
Roll down. See you later.
And he's gone.
Oh, he's late for something else. You guys are having, this is like an event that's happening here?
It was an event, but we ended it because they had an English class event. And we don't want to overlap events.
Oh, okay. So I missed the event. I'm late. It's like Black.
It was just a random event, yeah. But we had like 45 people in here at one stage. 40 people on the live stream, so it was going off.
Good.
What do the vegans say? Are they purposely doing, like, anytime we start an event, they start one too? Are they going to cut that shit or what?
Yeah, we can I'll have a chat with Axel or whatever his name is. I get along okay with him, so I'll have a chat with him and I'll just tell them, look, if you guys are going to have an event, we won't step on you, and then vice versa.
Make sure we try and talk to them after dinner time, mate. They're always hangry, these vegans.
Yeah, after he has like 25 mangoes and his
Rust
4
leg.
kilos. Yeah.
Lick some dust off his arm or something.
Oh, CB, you're getting too good at that. I actually thought you were a freaking clown Clover.
I know a lot of you guys did.
I was about to ban you, but your name kept flashing. I'm like, who's the fucking talking, man? I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Nice.
Dude, you sounded just like a Clover. You were completely irrational.
Yeah.
Eastern European fuckwit.
Yeah. I'm about to go back and listen to that one. That was pretty fun. I was in the back trying not to laugh, dude. It's so funny.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
You can hear me laughing? I was definitely
at the end there, you were. You started off great, though. Well, the thing is, I like everything you said. I've actually heard all of that before, like almost in the same order.
I know. It's pretty easy to predict like how they behave. It's just you just weasel around, you lie a little bit here and there. Like Jedi started getting technical stuff, and I was like, "You're just stupid." Like you don't have to address anything. You just bounce around, gish gallop, ad hom. Like there's
and when in doubt, just say, "I trust people."
Yeah, there's experts, pictures. Come on, why don't you believe this?
Hey, how many syndromes did you cover there?
Oh man, a lot. Phantom expert syndrome for sure. Biodoctors can't be right syndrome.
Did you do the appeal to the future?
I'm gonna do that next time. I will put you all on the rockets. Just wait till you go to space. Then you will feel stupid about it.
We're gonna send you to Mars where you can start the Flat Mars Society.
Yeah. Pretty much. Dude, you guys should have been there last night, man. We were talking to this guy named Sign. Presented the Black Swan to him, and then he's like,
Was that when I left?
It might have been when you left.
You were cooking pretty good last night. I gotta say.
It's been a while since I saw it.
Yeah, dude, I haven't heard you flex in a long time. You were flexing.
It's been a while, man. It's good. Take me back to like 2022 or something. But yeah, he presented the whole like the image where the boat appears to be floating, but the horizon's actually behind it, like faintly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he said that, well, the light blue area is actually the sky. So like it's a mirage that the boat is in the sky. And we kept trying to point out to him that there was a horizon behind the boat. He's like, no, you can't say that. You're all apes. That's not possible. We're like, bro, Clipcord made the clip for me because he said, I walked him through it. I said, do both go over the curve? He said, yes. Okay, so then boats disappear behind the horizon, correct? Yes. And then we're like, so is the boat behind the horizon? It's like, no. So has the boat disappeared? No. Like, he couldn't understand what he was saying. We trapped him like 3 times. I was like, you're so dumb, dude. How do you not see this? Incredible. Clipboard was there. A couple other people were there. Incredible, dude. These guys are so low IQ. Let me get the clip, because now you guys got to hear this. Hold on 1 second. Let me get the clip for you guys. I got to go soon, but I think it's worth it. I have the clip on my computer.
Yeah, when I left, Sign was there, but he hadn't started talking yet. So
Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Let me fix my noise suppression real quick. Okay.
Let me ask my question again. Hold on, chat. Let me ask it one more time. Isn't it that the boats go over the horizon, correct? Yes. And it's why boats start to disappear, because they went over the horizon, right? Yes. Now, the boat hasn't disappeared in this image, right?
No.
So it hasn't gone over the horizon then?
It has gone over the horizon.
It has or has not?
Has.
Click word, please click that.
He said that about the Fata Morgana, that it went over the horizon?
Yeah, he's like,
wow, bro.
Boats disappear over the horizon. Has it disappeared? No. So is it over the horizon? Yes.
Bro, DM me that clip, bro. DM it.
All right, I'll put it in the chat. That's great. Here's the second clip.
One more time. You're saying that the entire light blue is the sky?
Yes.
And then the boat is in the sky?
Appears to be in the sky, yes.
Click that again.
I don't know if you caught it, but he was like, so the boat's in the sky. He's like, yeah. Well, it looks like it.
Yeah, he stutters. That's awesome.
Oh, dude. Too funny.
They make it too fucking easy.
Yeah.
The boat's floating in the fucking air like, Jesus, what planet are we living on?
That was one of the craziest things I've heard in a long time. We gave him the Retard of the Week award.
I don't know. I think units attract mass attracts units is pretty damning.
Damn.
Here, what I got to do to say that shit. He's like, mass is units, so units attract units. He said, no, mass attracts units. I'm like, what the fuck?
Clips are in the chat there if you want to take a listen. God, we got to hear the blue clip again. That was too funny.
One more time. You're saying that the entire light blue is the sky?
Yes.
And then the boat is in the sky?
Appears to be in the sky, yes.
Click that again.
We have Lip Filler Extraordinaire 9000 in the chat. Welcome. Is that Alonia? We heard you breathing. Go ahead.
Hello.
Dandelion, you're up.
Okay. Hello, Lonia. How's it going?
Hello. It's going great. How about you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. I just had my cherry yogurt. It was so good. So, have you heard about the flat Earth?
Yeah, of course. I believe 100% Earth is flat. Like,
what makes you believe that?
I think because when you walk, like you don't, it's just like it's flat. Like when you walk in the ground, it's flat. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good start. It'd be hard to get to 100% from that, but maybe you're just like an extremely intuitive person, so you realize that you're walking on flat and stationary ground. So if you kept walking and you got to the ocean, maybe you live near the ocean, so you wouldn't even have to walk very far. When you saw the water, that would convince you even more. The ground might get you up to 75, 80, but to get to 100 seems like you'd have to look at the water, don't you think?
Yeah, but still, like, water looks really flat. Like, everything looks so flat in this world. So I believe that, like, I think we're living in a flat Earth, and I think all of the people, like, who is saying we're not living in a flat world are lying to us because they're living in a delusion and they have to wake up. And
good job. Yeah, well done. This is great. Like, this is the first time I've heard someone just kind of like, we usually have globe parrots. Like, you're very good at like parroting the flat Earth. I mean, usually people can't do it. Like, they can't say what our points are. So yeah, when you go to the ocean, so if you were trying to convince someone who still believed in the fantasy globe, you would say you were looking out there, and then what else would you say about the water?
I will say that I don't know what's happening into water, but I will definitely say that like Antarctica is like the huge place. Actually, I think there's another worlds in Antarctica too, and I think like we are living in a basically like I think Earth is like a big flat place, and there's other Earths too, and it's
okay. Well, let's go back to the water. You left the ocean and you wanted to go to Antarctica for some reason. You don't need to go there, do you? Because you look out at the ocean. The water is flat. It covers over 70% of the Earth's surface. So there's no curving of any water anywhere. That's a physical impossibility. So then, what would you say to people if they said, "Oh, Alonia, tell me about? I've heard about this mathematics of flat Earth. How the geometry of the sphere is disproven by long-distance observations and laser tests." How would you explain that to a globe believer?
I don't know. I don't have that kind of intelligence.
Okay, well, it doesn't require intelligence. I like your new picture better. The pink anime person with the teddy bear. Yeah, I like that one better. You're welcome. So it doesn't like take a huge amount of intelligence. The math involved is, pretty low level geometry. Yeah, well, that's fine. So yeah, I'll explain it to you because you don't want to be, so the important thing to realize if you're ever interested in actually getting serious about the flat earth and understanding, the factual, logical arguments behind it, you need to understand that it's just a mathematical certainty. We definitely do not live on a sphere, because if we did, then the drop over distance would be measurable, but it's actually not measurable because we see things in the distance far beyond where we should be able to see. Do you understand that part?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I do. I was like, why Earth is round? Like, if its Earth was round, we were like living, like the tables were not, we would be standing. Like, how? I don't know. I cannot explain it. I'm sorry. It's gonna sound so stupid. I don't want to sound stupid.
That's right. You could just be yourself. That's what we like, people to just be themselves and be honest about what their actual thoughts are. Did you say something about a table? I'm sorry, because I missed what you said.
Yeah, I was just like saying that if Earth wasn't flat, like we couldn't be standing up. Like we couldn't build, like, how can I say, big skyscrapers or like cities, because Earth was round. Like it wouldn't be like, and we will be like turning too, like everything will be like full because Earth is turning like a ball, and that's like ridiculous to me.
Yeah, well, that's a good start to realize the ridiculous nature of the fantasy globe idea. It's a complete science fiction. It's a complete science fiction story.
Science fiction. Do you guys here believe really like Earth is globe? Like, do you guys like? Are there any people in here that believes that way?
Oh, there might be. I mean, it's a common disease. It's a common, like you said. You called it a religious delusion. Yep, that's what it is. So those can spread. Like a toxic virus, and that's happened. But the best way to combat that, that's what I was going to tell you. I didn't want to forget. So you don't want to encourage people to get off of the globe story and just get onto another kind of fairy tale story where they're just kind of dreaming about, we're going to escape this world, go to far off lands or whatever. I mean, there's nothing wrong with people thinking that. It's just that we don't have any verification of that. So, it's fine if you want to think about that, and kind of imagine like you would imagine going to the land of Oz, that kind of thing. But really what we're trying to get people...
I was just saying that. I just want to say, like they believe that there's other planets. I don't believe that there are planets on Earth.
Yeah, there's planets. They're called the wandering stars. That's where the word planets came from. It's from the ancient Greek. So yeah, they exist. It's just, you can't actually go there. There's no evidence that you could actually go there, that they would be terra firma. So that's why we try to get people to focus on reality and the present moment where you actually are on Earth, and just try to improve your little corner of the Earth, best you can, and just try to stick to what's actually testable, repeatable, and verifiable. That would be my advice to you, as well as, maybe some acting lessons.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for all of the information. Yeah, I don't know these kind of people. I think this Japanese guy who I cannot spell, Shitarihu, is delusional, and you need to go to hospital. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful.
I don't know who you're talking to. Who is it you're talking about?
And this is like the guy in chat, and I was reading, and he was like, he had like a globe Earth profile picture. I think that is like really ridiculous. Like that's like wrong. I don't know.
Not to go that far. I mean, we don't want to become like the fantasy globe believers, do we? We don't want to be like diagnosing people and so on, because a lot of people are able to function in society perfectly, I shouldn't say perfectly well, but like passably well, right? And still believe in this science fiction thing, because most people don't really, they don't even really think about it too much in their daily life. For most people, because occupation, it doesn't come up. There's no, there's no real, unless you like are working for NASA or some other, fake space agency, there's not really, most of the time it's just kind of accepted, that we live on this globe, and then you just go about your life as if you didn't, because you don't, because it has no bearing on most people's reality. So the time when people have problems is when they stop kind of like making fun of it, thinking it's a joke, using their duper's delight voice and so on. And then they actually realize, oh my gosh, there's something to this. Like maybe we don't actually live on a globe. That's when people maybe would have trouble, functioning as well in the world, because you're kind of like changing over your worldview, especially when you're changing from an indoctrinated belief that you've had since childhood. You've kind of had to deconstruct that belief as if you were born into a religious cult, on this compound. And then you're kind of like, oh gosh, there's a whole other world out there. That's the real world that I could experience on my own terms. Like there's a little transition period where you kind of have to get over that, but it can be done. And, once you get through that, then you're even more functional than you were before. So yeah, people who are full on the globe, who really believe it, like, that's fine. They could some people are better off just continuing in the cult, because some cult members, if you just threw a cult member out on the street, like sometimes they deprogram them, they kidnap them from cults and just like throw them into, the world again. It's like very hard for them. So that's why we try to find people who actually begin to understand, especially the objective, logical facts, that there's zero drop over distance as expected in a sphere that is not measured anywhere. So people who are able to kind of set aside the emotional, psychological attachment to the globe and begin to use their logical minds again, they'll usually be fine. But people who are kind of like just emotionally clinging to the globe, you can kind of tell after talking to them for a little while, like, it's kind of like, yep, that's fine. Maybe one day in the future, you'll realize, oh yeah, 10 years ago, they told me about this. Guess they were right. But, until then, it's perfectly fine to cling to your plushy globe at night, get you to sleep, dream about Mars, so on and so forth. That's what a lot of people do. And, that's their choice. Free country, free world.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, anytime. I'm glad you dropped in and you're willing to talk to us. A lot of people come in here and they won't even speak up. So we appreciate, Elonia, that you spoke up and you made your profile picture less objectionable. Although I liked Creation Bear's profile name for you when you went with the other picture. That was really funny. I thought, is that really your name? Yeah, that was good, Creation Bear.
No, I was just like, I hate trans people. I don't want to say here, but I don't want to be discriminative.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to talk about that. That's fine. We don't need to know. You can go take that somewhere else. There's a lot of places where they probably sit and talk about that all day long. Sounds unpleasant to me. Does anybody else have a question about the flat Earth? Any new people?
Yes, I have one more question. Just kidding.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, go make me some borscht.
I was trying to think of some Russian food, but I couldn't think of anything on the fly. When you're like, do you want some sandwiches? I was going to be like, bring me some stew or some, I don't know any Russian dishes.
Beef stew.
Are they any believers of globe earthy here?
Are you faking your accent or is that real?
No, it's real. Wait.
Well,
what are you talking about?
It's giving voice changer.
No, I'm not saying my voice. I'm sorry.
Well,
what are you talking about?
It's giving voice changer.
No, I'm not saying my voice. I'm sorry.
It's cat, bro.
Yeah, Elonia wants to talk to some globe believers. So we got any?
They're accusing me.
The dandelion.
Oh, really yeah.
Yeah, they're accusing me. And I think that you are this guy, Creation Beer, is accusing me with my changing my voice. If my voice could be that way, why you care about my voice?
Yeah, quit being weird, dude.
Because you believe that globe Earth, and that's stupid as fuck. You have to wake up. The delusion.
Bring Russian Bear back to talk to this girl.
Yeah, do that.
Is he in the back room? Bring him back. Hey, Russian Bear, get over here.
Yes, I hear a woman talking. She's saying that the Earth is flat, or what is the problem?
Yes, I'm saying that Earth is flat, and you do believe Earth is globe.
Obviously, it is. Obviously.
Why would you say that?
Everyone says that.
Okay, so can you give a proof about why Earth is, globe?
The boats go over the curve. They disappear. That does not work on the flat Earth.
We are living in a simulation, okay? Nothing's real. Maybe what you see is not real. How did you know that?
And this, folks, is why you do not trust flat earthers. They have tinfoil hats with many wrinkles in the hat. Clearly lost. They're so lost.
Yeah, this particular one, just seems to kind of be careening all over the road. I tried to get you to stay in your lane there, Elonia. I told you about you disproving the geometry. Now you're off to simulation Earth. How'd that happen?
I don't know. I kind of believe that.
This is what happens when you listen to conspiracy theories. You become a conspiracy crazy person.
So you believe the Earth is flat. You believe it's stationary. Do you believe it's hollow as well?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. Bye.
Oh, why would you say that? Yeah, I could be a stupid girl. Why would you saying this to me?
Would be. You definitely are.
Okay, so I asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is stupid as well.
That is true. That is true.
Earth is a flat and Earth is not globe. ChatGPT says that. I'm sorry.
Okay, Elonia, stick around, and maybe you'll learn some more of the arguments. It's a good idea. I mean, just even being able to speak the words, that you spoke earlier means that you're far ahead of many globe believers because you're just able to even entertain the idea, even if it's just kind of a little bit of a, I don't know what you call it, exploration for you and so on. So yeah, there's a lot of flat, curious people, and you're welcome to, stick around. So, yep, nobody's gonna judge you for just wanting to listen to flat earthers talk. It's perfectly fine. We accept people of all different faiths here.
Wait, Dandelion.
Yeah.
You definitely don't think this is legit, right? That's she's capping. Harper.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
I mean, don't you? I mean, I'll give you 99.999% sure. How's that, Creation Bear?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. It's cap, bro. It's all cap.
Yeah, but Larber.
It's giving Glober, for sure.
Why do I believe globe Earth? That's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably real people who just believe in the flat Earth the way you first, I think that was one of your first statements, but it's, gosh, I shouldn't even give that away. I mean, but they all should know that by now. If you come in here and say, I believe in flat earth, like, red flag, giant red flag, biggest red flag known to man, because it's not a belief. The globe requires belief, Alonia. The globe is a religious belief that you've been indoctrinated into since birth. Flat earth is a measurement, like I explained to you, it's a numerical certainty. So there's no one who actually understands the argument who would say that. I believe in flat earth to be like saying, I believe that my, wooden floor is hard. No, it is. So people don't say that. So I don't want to say that to try to like improve your LARP, but I'm just telling you, that's the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. Plus, people who are kind of obsessed with Antarctica, those people are kind of questionable too, because, like you said, because that's just, there's nothing wrong with thinking about it, but it's not anything going on out there in those outer realms is pure speculation. Because did you know that we're not allowed to travel past the 60th parallel south due to the Antarctic Treaty and intergovernmental regulations? Did you know that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, you're learning new things all the time here. So, just put that in your little notebook there.
I love it. I love it.
God damn. I'm not even convinced that this is a woman, but that doesn't matter necessarily.
Why'd you say that?
Oh my God, because I can do it too.
Creation Bear. Yeah, we had an XX. I made actually in the old server, I made an XX chromosome roll, but then I realized, this is bad, because then people were DMing me like, I need the XX chromosome roll, so I'm not actually going to send out DNA tests. So I got rid of the roll, but it was fun while it lasted. Yeah.
I hate trans people. What the fuck?
All right, well, let's move on. I'm sorry. Creation Bear, you did that again. You brought that up. You baited her, Creation Bear. I'm usually the baiter around here.
My bad.
We got Miss Money Pants, Juzu.
Another one.
Savaz Laurent. Vivek's in here. Yeah, hello, Vivek. Thanks for everything you've done here in this server. It's so much fun here. I'm so glad that you and Zychrome and whoever else worked on this have made this possible. There's a lot of good people in here.
Vivek is here?
Yeah, he's here.
Nice. Shout out to W's in the chat. Should we get some W's in the chat? I'll throw a W in there for him.
Yeah, put him in there. Put him in there. He deserves
W here. Verbal W.
Killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, so the flat earth isn't hidden. You can just go outside.
Yeah.
You've been offered a story, and you choose to believe it. It's literally just a choice. It's not. Yeah. It's a semi-conscious choice because a lot of it's emotionally driven by peer pressure. Right. So, you've heard it. Flat earthers are stupid. People in the past thought the earth was flat. They're a bunch of idiots. Blah blah blah. Right. So there's a social pressure there, and you say, well, this is the truth. This is the reality. What you see outside, that's not reality. That's really what they tell you. Let me ask you: does the earth look flat?
Visually. From my perspective right now?
Yes, from your perspective, yes.
Yeah, I would say no, of course, right? What
perspective would you be going by? Someone else's?
From my perspective, yes, I would agree. It doesn't look, round. Yeah.
And of course, what they tell you, right? It's just a ball that's too big to see. Okay.
I get it.
And you either accept that, right? That somebody's telling you, from your perspective, the world is an optical illusion, or you reject that. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Do you reject it, or do you accept it?
Yeah, look, the thing is, I was believing my whole life that the Earth is round, right? I need to, get more information about it, because I also saw videos where you can see a ship from a big distance that is, disappearing at the horizon. It's somehow that he's, goes down.
Do you think that can only happen on a ball?
Sorry?
Do you think that can only happen if the surface of the Earth is curved? Do you think that can happen if the Earth was flat? Would you think it would look like that? Do you think it would look like that on a flat surface, on a flat Earth?
I think it could be.
Think about it. Yeah, that observation of ships appearing to disappear like that, that's actually rare. Doesn't happen all the time. Like if you went out to the ocean 100 times and did an observation of a ship sailing away, you might see that 2 or 3 times. And we know for a fact, because it's been tested experimentally, that same type of observation will happen on a flat surface. We've done this on long hallways, tennis courts, warehouses, small lakes, right? So you have to do it on a small scale because you have to eliminate the variable of curvature, right? You want to eliminate that variable so if I see this, it can't be that causing it, right? So this is the way you do the test. Small scale, smaller objects, you just scale down everything, and then you go, okay, it can't be curvature. Can I make the same visual effect happen? And you can.
I can.
So the conclusion that people reach from that observation is flawed because it has that, they have the idea in their head, oh, this couldn't happen on a flat surface. But it does. It can and does. So that is actually what we would call not globe exclusive evidence. meaning that observation doesn't prove anything one way or another. That's the funny thing. When you look into this topic, a lot of what they say, hey, this would only work on a globe, it actually does also work on a flat Earth.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah, thank you for telling me that.
There's the thing about the globe idea is that people think, because they've been told that everything they experience, that everything that the globe predicts is what's observed in reality, when in fact it isn't. I don't know, someone's like drilling near my house or something. Hold on a second.
What? I don't know. He had to go somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. So, what do you think about all that stuff?
Yeah, that's yeah, it sounds logical, but like I said, I need to read more about that, getting more facts, like because how let's imagine an asteroid hits the ground of the Earth right from the other side. Like, wouldn't we feel it? Like,
okay, we don't think the Earth is a disk in space.
So how is it looking exactly? Like, okay, it's not a disk, right? But it's
there is no outer space, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, Earth isn't like floating. Like, we didn't go, yeah, we don't like balls, so we're just gonna like keep everything the same, and we're just gonna stick a flat Earth in there. We didn't do that, right? It's completely different cosmology. Where everything, the sun, moon, and stars are above the Earth, and the Earth is kind of like the ground of reality. Right? There's nothing outside. There's no going outside. And this is how we experience it. The only way we leave the Earth, right, is when we bite the dust, right? And that's how you ever experience it. You're never going to go outside and look back at the Earth, ever. Not you, not anybody you've ever met, not anybody they've ever met. That's like an idea we have in our heads that's been put there by television and imagery and movies. Like, we have this idea that there's a way I can get outside the Earth and look back at it. Like, I can go from a first person. You play video games?
Yeah, I play.
Yeah, so it's like I can go from a first person shooter to a third person shooter.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't. That's just imagination. And you even said, imagine an asteroid. Like we don't imagine.
Okay.
We don't. When it comes to the natural world, we don't imagine what it is. We just accept it for what it is instead of imagining that it's some other thing.
Okay, yeah.
And imagination is great, dude. But when we're going to talk about what it is and what really exists in reality, you got to ground yourself in reality. And how does reality present itself? It presents itself as a flat, motionless Earth. The sun moves above our head. We don't perceive the Earth spinning. We don't perceive the Earth moving around the sun. What we see is the sun move across the sky, the stars move across the sky, the moon moves across the sky. That's what we see. Why should we think that the opposite is happening? That the sun's not moving, we are moving. That the Earth is not flat, it's curved. The Earth is not still, it's moving. Like, those ideas, it's like diametrically opposed to our experience.
Okay.
Well, isn't it? Do you agree with all that? They're like, what they tell us what reality is actually the opposite of what we perceive.
Yeah, you will agree. Yeah.
So if you met somebody and everything they said was the opposite of perceptual reality, you would call them delusional. You might call them mentally ill. You might lock them up in a rubber room with a white coat. So this is how we approach it. Right? It is what it is until someone proves differently. So it looks flat because it is flat. It feels like it's not moving because it's not moving. Okay, not some excuse. There's a funny thing, and we have this other guy. I wish he was around because he's kind of funny, but he hasn't been around in a while. He's very excitable. He would say to a globe earther when talking to him, he'd say, "Watch, you'll be denying everything you say in 30 seconds," and they'd say, "Earth is a globe. It's spinning in space around the solar system," and then he would start asking them about it, and they'd instantly start denying that that's the case. They'd say, "Well, it looks flat, even though it's a globe, and that it's spinning, even though we can't feel it." Right? So in a way, they're arguing against their own their evidence. They're presenting evidence against their own position immediately.
Is that Bong Sao you're talking about? Or somebody else?
XO.
Oh, X. Oh, yeah. Both of those guys are excitable. Yeah. Okay.
XO will be like, and you'll be arguing against your own claim in 30 seconds.
Oh, because is that the video you used to have? Is that conversation?
I don't know.
That little animation.
That video.
Yeah. Okay.
He might. He's funny.
But he is funny. Yeah, I know other people don't. He's an acquired taste. Yeah. All right. Sorry to distract. Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Seth.
No, that's perfect. Before you move on to look for the video, before you find your video that proves the Earth is round, how would you prove the Earth is round? How can you do that? What method?
You just need to learn math, physics, and some geometry.
It's only geometry. That's all you need to know is geometry.
And you need to learn about science, not just to say you can believe anything you want.
Okay, I asked you for the methodology. Nothing you said is a methodology. Just a laundry list of concepts.
I don't try to convince you. I try to say my vision that something exists, and you try to prove me that my vision is wrong and your vision is right. It's not the same.
You've seen the Earth as a globe?
Try to say yes, the Earth
From where?
is round.
Hold on, Adrian. From where? Because I want to go there.
From a television.
What?
I know it's from a television. From the couch. That's where he fucking saw. That's where he saw the Earth as a globe. From the couch. Sorry, Adrian. I know this is probably upsetting. You guys get upset all the time.
No,
the Earth is outside.
Something that you believe, because
I don't have a belief. You do. No, I don't have a belief. You do, because I can tell you exactly where to go.
You believe
no,
that
I don't.
Earth
I
is
don't
flat.
have. No, it's not a belief. You have a belief. This is what you're not understanding. I can tell you exactly where to go
I know
in the world
that the Earth.
to see that the Earth is flat. You can't tell me anywhere in the world to go to see the Earth as a globe, right?
Nah, man, I can't argue because I don't know.
Go to any ocean and you will see the Earth is flat. Any ocean, any lake, any.
I don't know.
Told you where to go. Now tell me where to go.
I don't know too much English to express.
I want to know the place. The place to see the Earth as a globe. Where do I go?
I just try to find the video. I can't explain because I don't know much English to argue with you.
Does the video? What does the video show?
I want to find it, but I don't find it because I just delete my history on YouTube. I see it on.
Can you describe it? Can you tell us about it?
I can tell, but my English is not accurate because I have on speaking. I have an.
Your English is fine. Listen, buddy. I understand you perfectly fine. Your English seems fine to me.
Seriously, it's fine.
Yes.
It's good?
Yep.
I don't know it.
I understand you perfectly fine.
Yeah, me too.
Me three.
Me
Yeah, Sonny hates foreigners. No, I'm just kidding.
I have an insecure with this because I don't talk too much in English, and my English is bad at speaking. But in like write and understand you and listen is right, but to speak it, I don't know to speak it.
Adrian, we understand, and we try to think about that when we talk in this server, because when you talk about flat Earth, globe Earth, we know that it's a lot of like scientific words that people don't know. They know it in their language, but they don't know it in English, because normally they don't teach those words first. If you're learning English, they teach the simpler words, like what does restaurant mean, or what does, automobile mean, like that stuff. We understand, and we're going to work with you. Okay, if there's anything I say you don't understand, just ask me what it means. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to think you're stupid. You know how many languages I speak? One. I don't speak. So just you trying to speak more than one, you're way better than me at that.
Yes. That's why I enter on this server, to speak more often with you guys, to learn to speak and express myself perfectly good. And the video,
you're doing
I want
good.
to find it, but I can't.
I'm just saying you're doing
It's
good.
a vlog from a vlogger.
Yeah, you are doing good. And Adrian, Indio was asking you if you could describe what you're seeing in the video that you're talking about. Do you understand?
I see like the man who tries to convince the man that the Earth is like when he travels on the water, on the ocean, and he has a telescope and he see it from the different height. And yeah, that's it. I watch because I watch a few minutes. I don't watch the full clip.
Okay.
And I try to find it because I can't describe it very well.
Okay, that's okay.
Good, because Sonny here was in the Navy.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, that's besides the point, but I'm also a sailor as a civilian too. But in this video, were they looking across like a lake or a body of water, and they showed a boat with a flag? Ocean.
Exactly.
Okay, ocean.
He was on the beach. He goes into a building, and he saw with the telescope in different places, like up and down, in different, on the lower and the higher building.
Okay, I understand. And was he looking at a boat in the ocean or something like that? Or what was he watching?
His friends go to ocean, to horizontal line, to prove that the Earth is round, and the man who believes that Earth is flat,
I've seen it
on the telescope, You see it.
I know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Is it the one where they're young kids and then the flat earth, there's a black guy?
Yes,
that one?
yes, that's the one. That's the
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yep.
That's the one I thought he was talking about. Where I wasn't
Do you
sure.
have the video to see it? Can you
Yeah,
send
we've
me
seen
the
it.
video? I want to see it. I want
Well,
to
I
see
mean,
it.
it's actually a horrible video for this topic. It's like one of the worst flat earth videos. But okay, did you watch that video closely? Did you pay attention?
I want no. No, it's just for entertainment for me. It's not just to prove. I want just to see you too.
That video does not prove the earth is round in any way. If you watch the boat closely,
maybe.
there is an inferior mirage. You know what that is? Mirage?
No, I just concentrate to find the video. I can't tell you much.
Okay. You find the video, then when you find it, we'll talk to you again. Just let us know. Anybody else want to give it a shot?
You moving on to somebody else while he looks for the video? Is that what's happening?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. You caught me.
Yeah, well, we've got Seth still here. I don't know if you have any other questions, Seth. Some other people like Square Foot. I'd love to hear Square Foot talk, maybe. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't even ask him. But if you wish to talk Square Foot, I probably won't stop you, at least not right after that. Basty's here. Anybody else? Chic. If anybody has a question about Flat Earth, no will, Savas, now's a good time to speak up. Question, comment, concern. Not too many concerns, though. We don't like those too much.
First of all, what you said is malformed. The shape of the earth is not a scientific question, so there's no scientific evidence to reject.
The shape of the earth or the curvature
It's not
of the
a
earth?
scientific question. Nope, it's not
What
a
is it?
scientific question.
What is it? A perspective?
The geometry question.
But
Stop
what is
answering your own
geometry?
questions. If you ask me a question, you need to let me answer. Stop answering your own question.
Okay, what's geometry?
That gimmick ain't gonna work here, dude.
What is geometry?
What is geometry? Are you serious?
Yeah. Is it mathematics, science? What is it?
Okay, geometry is the study of the figures and abstract figures and forms.
And where do you? Okay, I'm talking about the core element of what it is. It's math,
Yeah,
right?
It's
Math is a
no,
form
it's
of
not
science.
math. You can do geometry without arithmetic, dude.
Accurate geometry?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I can look outside and see that things are flat, but that's
Okay, so
perspective.
when they invented geometry, they didn't even use units. They only compared ratios of objects.
Okay.
You don't know what you're talking about.
We're also advanced past mythological times.
Yeah, it's
so
fantastic. Now you're gonna run away from your own fucking.
okay, no. All right. So let's say it's not math. Fine, whatever. Geometry isn't
not
math.
Science.
Okay, it's not science. It's not math. Okay, it's so the Earth's curvature is based on geometry, is what you're saying, right? So where do you get your geometry from? Like how you're saying you've done the measurements or whatever. How did you do that?
Yeah, you take a laser, you shine it across the body of the water, right? The surface of the water should get further and further away from the laser because it's supposed to be curving away. In reality, it does not curve away. So if I took a laser and I shined it 25 miles, the surface of water should go from whatever my starting point is, say 10 feet. And if I measure the laser,
Indo, you know
stop talking. Why are you interrupting me, fucktard?
Excuse you, I'm talking
no.
now.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
talk
you're not. I don't think so. Is that your buddy? He running interference for you? Anyway.
No, I don't know who that is.
You take a laser 10 feet off water, shine it 25 miles, right? That laser height at 10 miles, at the 10-foot laser height, 25 miles away, the laser should be 420 feet in the air. So you should only see the laser from the top of a 42-story building. Well, guess what?
Light travels in a straight line, right? Like if you
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But regardless, light is like beyond gravity. So like the curvature wouldn't affect light, but that doesn't disprove curvature of the Earth. I get what you're saying. I do understand it because what you're saying is like, but if you took,
I want to ask you, should the Earth curve down away from the laser?
The Earth is like, so it's a sphere, right? So, or let's say, from my perspective, like my belief, it's a sphere. It's I'm not going to say for sure because this is basically you can't prove it, you can't disprove it kind of thing. But I believe the Earth is a globe, right? So but I also understand what you're trying to disprove is that because like from wherever you're standing, it should be curving away or around because it's a sphere, right?
Should be curving every direction, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So when you put something like straight out, like a laser, which I would say you can't really use a laser because again, it's light. It just isn't affected by gravity. But if you took like I would say if you took like a long ass stick or something physical, tangible that's affected by gravity, it would eventually curve. If you could like reach a 50, there's just no like way to. I don't think. I mean, Bezos could invest billions of dollars to do it and just have
this is just gibberish, bro. You're just gibberish. You're buying time.
Well, no, what I'm saying is I get where you're coming from, but what you're saying doesn't disprove curvature, right?
Yeah, it does.
From your perspective, sure.
Not from my perspective. We can measure the height of the laser from the surface of the Earth.
Again, yeah, but only again from the perspective that you can shine the laser.
It's not. There's no perspective. We're not looking at it. We're measuring with a tape measure.
From a perspective of let's say 50,000 feet in the air, you can't.
We're measuring it with a tape measure. We're measuring it with a tape measure. The height of the laser above the surface of the Earth with a fucking tape measure.
Okay, so let's say that. Okay, so let's. All right, so All right. So I guess the next question would be how, because I'm not going to like argue that. I guess I can't. But
there's no argument. We're not going past this. We're not going past this. You're trying now.
I mean, I can't argue that like you've done. I mean, I don't know what kind of math you've done. You're saying you've used a tape measure on a laser. I don't know how to see that in my head and like go, okay. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I mean, I get where you're coming from.
I have a laser, right? Can I measure it? Okay, we have a lake. Can I take my laser and measure how high it is off the water? Is that possible?
I mean, I guess probably. Yeah. If you shine a laser far enough, yeah. If you shine a laser far enough across the lake.
No, I'm talking. We're going to start at the device. We're going to walk through this step by step. We're going to start at the device. We have a laser
at the edge of a lake.
Yeah, we stand at the edge of the lake and we take a tape measure. We measure from the surface of the water to the laser. And we have a height. 10 feet. Boom. There's our height. Okay. We go 25 miles away to the other side of the lake. Sure. We say, hey, flip on the laser. They flip it on. And we're 4 feet above the lake. We measure our height.
Sure. Okay.
Our camera height. We measure it above the surface of the water. It's 4 feet. And we see the laser. Then we do the math. How high should the laser be at that place where we measured 4 feet? And the math says 420 feet. That means I would have to be 420 feet high to see the laser.
Are you saying because of the curvature of the Earth? It should be 420 feet high?
The lake should be 420 feet over my head. Yes, across a 25-mile lake.
No, but you can't use the same measurements for the Earth on a lake. They're two different bodies. Because one is huge, one is much more enormous, and so the perspective again is
different.
Does
water conform to gravity? Doesn't pictures of the Earth?
Yeah, but within its confines, just like Bruce Lee said, water conforms to the glass, the shape it's in. Yeah, it conforms. But what I'm saying is, it's a much. You can't use the same. That's why it's math. You can't use the same.
Is the surface of the Earth covered in mostly water?
Sure, yeah, and a lot of the Earth, like the gravitation you'll see over oceans at high enough altitudes, again, from a certain perspective from the Earth, you can still, and not out in space, not out in space either. This is from a commercial plane.
Girl. Come on, you're running away from it. You're trying to get away from it.
I'm saying you can't use the same mathematical equation that you're using for the curvature of the Earth as for a body of water on the Earth.
Why?
Can you? I mean, just like you can't. You have to scale it down. You have to scale the math, and to that point, there would be no curvature of the lake.
Okay. If you're saying it's the wrong math, give us the right math.
Well, I don't know the right math off the top of my head.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't know what the wrong math is. You don't know what the right math is. You're just saying shit that.
But all you have to, but you don't have to know. No. All I have to know is that the Earth is much larger in scale than a lake on the Earth.
What does that matter?
What are we not getting here? So you can't use the same. You can't use the same mathematical equation for the curvature of the Earth.
You're just saying that, and I asked you which one to use, and you can't tell me which one.
What are you talking about? Which one? What? You're not making sense, man. All I'm saying is you have to scale the math down. Bro, all I'm saying is you have to scale the math down to the lake.
Why? To scale it down.
Why? What do you mean? Because they're two different sizes. Just like you would scale anything down. You wouldn't compare. You wouldn't compare. Like, that's why there's weight classes in fucking boxing. You don't compare a 280-pound 6'6" person to a 185-pound person unless you do pound for pound. You have to calculate for that. What are you talking about?
You tell me what's wrong, but you can't. Bro, okay, you've been talking.
You're just not understanding simple basic math, and that's what I'm like. That's what I'm kind of.
I don't understand basic math. Really,
you seem to not understand the fundamental mathematics behind.
Okay, bro, stop talking.
It's really
my turn to talk.
You're saying I can turn to talk. That's what it is.
It's my turn to talk. I'm going to mute you. Dude, it's really simple. How can you're telling me you know what's wrong, but you don't know what's right, and then you're telling me I don't understand the math, but you don't know what that math actually even is. Okay? A property of a sphere is that every point on the surface is equidistant from the center. It doesn't matter where we measure on the surface of the sphere. It could be any body of water. It could be any body of land. Okay? The drop from curvature is going to be the same within some margin of error. Even if you say it's an oblate spheroid, the difference in curvature is going to be in the second decimal place of inches. You don't know what you're talking about. You've been trying to do smoke and mirrors. It ain't going to work. What are you talking the whole time?
All you have to understand is that you have to reduce what you're doing to the relevance of the size of what you're trying to calculate, man. Okay, you're calculating the lake for the entire Earth.
What's the radius of the Earth? What's the radius of the Earth at the lake?
What?
The lake that this test was done at. What's the radius of the Earth there?
What's the radius
like ice here? Yeah, because that's how we calculate how much curvature there is. You got to know the radius, right?
3,900 something miles, I think.
3959. Are you saying that the radius of the Earth, that lake, is significantly different than other places on Earth?
Are you saying that it's not different? A place on the Earth is not different than the Earth? I don't understand what you're saying right now, man. You're saying, yeah, of course it's different. You're saying, can I compare the Earth to a lake? No, you can't. So the math has to be different. You're doing the same math on the Earth as you are on a lake. It's
okay. So this is the problem you're having. A sphere has a universal property. Every point on the surface of the sphere is equidistant. So if I measure any portion of that sphere as not equidistant from the center, it's not a sphere.
But you also understand though, that the Earth isn't a perfect sphere, right?
Tell me what I just said, dude.
Wait, you understand that the Earth's surface is not a perfect sphere,
we're
right?
all aware of the polar radius versus equatorial radius, the difference of 11 miles. So what? You don't
No. What I'm saying is like, if you took a really detailed, the photos we see make it look like a marble, but the surface of the Earth is not all equal like a marble. It's just from the perspective. Again,
I just told you what they say the difference is, dude. You're not educating us. You're the dumbest fucker in here.
Okay. Well. Okay. All right.
You are.
So,
You're the most ignorant person on this topic.
So how do you explain photos from space?
There's no curvature. How do you explain that?
Yes, there is. It's a sphere from space. That's the whole point you're trying to argue.
No, we measured that there is no sphere. So the photos.
How do you explain the photos? So they're fake.
Well, they have to be because there's no curving water. Did those images show curving water?
Okay. What about photos from planes?
Okay.
Commercial airplanes.
Water. So now you're gonna hold on. Now you're gonna say you can see curve from a commercial airplane?
They did a test in 1935 where an airplane flew 55 or 75,000 feet in the air.
At what altitude?
That was less than 100 years ago, dude.
What
high altitudes where they can see the curvature of the Earth all the time. My brother is in the Air Force. He sent me a video. Actually, I might be able to pull it up. A video of him doing one of those jet fuel exchange things.
I don't care about
that. The curvature of the Earth in the video.
Listen. You cannot see the curvature from the Earth from an airplane at any altitude.
I'll look for this video. He sent it to me.
You're talking out your ass, dude.
Okay, but there's pictures.
You're talking out your ass. Okay. Right now.
Hold on.
Right now. Go on.
No. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Nope. Okay, it ain't happening. You can go right now. Did he dip?
Not me. No, I'm still in here.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you remember the Red Bull jump? Felix Baumgartner jumped out of a hot air balloon from 128,000 feet.
Maybe probably. I don't know.
Okay, it happened like 5-6 years ago. So Neil deGrasse Tyson has a Twitter post up right now saying you cannot see the curvature of the Earth from 128,000 feet.
Okay.
No airplane can fly at 128,000 feet. The highest any airplane flies is 90,000. The highest any airplane flies is 90,000 feet.
Yeah, which is more than enough to see the curvature of the Earth.
No, not even 128,000. Did you even hear what I said?
Wait, if I'm thinking of that, hold on. What did you say his name was? Something Baumgartner?
Baumgartner Red Bull jump. He jumped from 128,000 feet. It's called the space
I'm pretty
jump.
sure if I remember, there is the curvature in that photo.
Dude, you're a dunce. I just told you that Neil deGrasse Tyson has a tweet up right this second that says in that video that shows curvature of the Earth. That is not the curvature of the Earth, that they used the fisheye lens.
They used a... So why the other side not fisheye? What? That's not how a fisheye lens works.
The other side of what? Out there, there's only one other camera.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is also an actor.
You know, you're talking over too much, dude. Shut the fuck up, dude. Fucking inconsiderate weasel. Dude, what a fucking snake, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, we've got another guy with a question if you're... Griffith's taking a break.
Fucking slithering little worm.
It's a good description.
Yeah, I mean... How do worms work on a globe? Who are we doing next?
Well, I don't know if his question's going to be good, but he says he's got one. Ryder, what's your question?
All right, let's hear it.
Guys, never mind. Honestly, it was just a question, but now that I see whatever is going on here is a little bit too heated, so I don't.
So now meta. So you're gonna do meta instead? You gonna talk about the conversation?
No, I was simply just going to ask a question about what was actually being discussed. But if that's totally fine. I don't need to ask the question anymore since I'm seeing things are too heated here anyway.
The topic is, so you did do meta. You said you weren't going to, and you did. You talked about, you had a conversation about the conversation. The topic here is flat Earth. That's the title of the room, right?
Yeah, just ask your question. That guy was that guy's been kind of like being kind of obnoxious for a while, so it got to a heated point, and then it's ending. Now we're going on to you. We're starting fresh, so why don't you get off to a good start and just ask your question, without a whole bunch of commentary around it.
Well, that's actually pretty nice of you, and honestly, I do apologize for the inconvenience and the matter that things were a little bit misunderstood here. I did not mean any animosity whatsoever. So, my question is, now I know we might be running in circles, but I'm really interested in the idea of like flat Earth, right? How? Or instead of saying how does it go? How is it possible that we could just call a plane such as this, the sentient Earth that we live on, flat? How's it possible?
Sentient? Is Earth in the room with you right now, buddy?
Oh shit. Possibly, if you go with that.
Did you say sentient as has a consciousness?
Well, however you put it, anyways. Just please answer my question if you don't mind.
No, I'm trying to understand your question. I'm.
Would you like me to rephrase the question to make it a little bit more simple for you?
No, I'm trying to understand if you said the word sentient, SENTIENT. Is that what you said?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, I'm just making sure, dude, because I don't really hear to that refer to inanimate objects. But whatever.
I like to raise controversy. That's all.
I don't know what relevance does the Earth being sentient or not have on a flat Earth.
I'm sorry, but I think I asked the question If you don't want to answer the question,
I know they're relevant. I don't know how it's relevant. I don't know how those two ideas are interconnected. That's like saying, if the Earth has a favorite color of yellow, how can the Earth be flat? It doesn't make any sense.
No, I can translate. I can translate, brother. Brother, I can translate for you.
Oh, fucking AI's a master translator. Go for it, brother.
Yeah. So what he means is, the Earth might get its feelings hurt if you misrepresent it. That's what he's trying to say.
Never.
Oh yeah, the Earth. Yeah. Writer, the Earth. Yeah, the Earth does not want to be called a globe. I'll tell you that because that's a lie. You know, and the Earth itself presents itself.
Thank you for understanding the joke. Thank you for understanding the joke, and that is exactly what I mean. I said before, and I think I'm going to display the whole thing again. I like to raise controversy, and at the same time, I do not like to hurt anyone's feelings when it comes to the Earth is flat or round. So I would like to understand your point. Like I said before, I said I'm interested. So I hope you explain the things.
Writer, is flat a shape?
Wait, is flat a shape?
Is flat a shape?
I mean, if we're talking conceptual, I think possibly yes.
No, it's a surface description. Shock horror.
So if flat is a shape, or if it's not a shape, let's say flat is a concept. All right. How does it go if, let's say, now that we have this much land, right? How do we say that the Earth is indeed, let's say, not a globe or not something that has curvature?
Because it measures to lay horizontal over distance. Horizontal being orientation 90 degrees from vertical. So the surface of the Earth, that's the water, measures to lay horizontally in orientation. That's why it can't be a sphere.
So I like how you pointed that out, because honestly I was thinking about it. But there is this one thing that always comes to mind since it comes to a horizontal plane. Matter of fact, now that you've mentioned it, if we have liquid on this horizontal plane, do we say that the gravitational force that comes from, let's say, the surrounding of this horizontal plane?
Not a force. So what would you say gravity is? Gravity is not a force. So what do you think it is?
Gravity is not a force. If I don't think gravity is not a force, I do not think that there is going to be another explanation for it if I believe it is a force. Think about it. That's not the point.
It's a mathematical
That's not the point.
Gravity's not.
He's accurate. He's accurate in noticing it's not the point. You're red herring him away, bro. Whether you realize it or not.
All right, fair enough.
Yes, because what I'm trying to get here is that if we say that we have liquid on this Earth, and let's say at one of the corners, liquid is present. Where does this liquid go if we say it is flat? Because surely if it's flat, it's supposed to go down, right? Or does it go round and round? I don't understand that.
What do you mean, does it go round and round? Those would be like...
How does the liquid not fall?
How does the liquid not fall?
No wheels on the bus go around it. No, never mind.
Yeah. Well, like off the Earth. You asking why the water doesn't fall off the Earth?
Well, thank you so much, yes.
Well, first you're presupposing that there'll be something to fall off into. Like what?
Great. So if it falls into something that is not space, what is it?
So if there's no space, and if we mean by that like 3 dimensions, height, width, length, by definition there's nothing to fall off into if there's no space.
Lovely. So let's imagine this. For example, by the way, I do apologize for the noise on my side, on behalf of myself, and sorry for everyone else here. If you're hearing any noise or loud noise. So
let's imagine.
Let's say we have a bowl. We have a bowl, for example, and we put the water into the bowl. Now the bowl is containing the water. To explain my point a little bit further, I'm trying to understand if the water is at some point at one of the corners of a flat plane, a horizontally flat plane.
Okay, corner. I don't know about corners, but if we want to talk about the water, then yes, it would be contained. We see that with seabeds and continental shores, for example.
Continental shores.
Yeah, so the seabeds and the beach. I don't know, dude, but we're talking about containment. I'll try and help you logically think through it, because you're correct. To have water in the way that we do, it should be contained or it's going to go away. To have the gas pressure that we do, and for it not to go away and disperse into the vacuum, as the law of nature dictates, it must be physically contained. So logically, if we're talking about reaching the limitation of the Earth, that would be containment, wouldn't it? So we wouldn't fall off.
Wow, possibly that could be one way to explain the point, but still, you talked about. By the way, I tried to take notes to understand a little bit further about this. You talked about, like, let's say, pores and ways to actually contain the water, since we can say that the Earth deep down. Now, how can we say that there is depth? There is depth because the water goes down into this depth, making sure that the water is contained within this depth, right? But if we say, for example, I don't know if you guys played Minecraft before, it could be a little bit, and this could be the only way I can tell you what I'm thinking of. If we say that the Earth is a square, for example, and at some point, at the edges of that square, it is water. When I think about it, I look at the square, let's say I'm in creative mode, I'm flying further away from the square, I can see the edge completely flat, the square, and the water is going all the way down. Why is it not floating in space?
Because there's no space to float into.
Where are we?
The floor. You're on the ground. Have you ever fallen off of the floor before?
No, because no,
fall off the floor.
because there's nothing. Yes, but they should be beyond. How do I know if there are other planets? How do I know if there is a sun?
Nobody claims other planets. The things that you see moving above you are indeed moving above your head, but they don't go into your feet.
So they could be a part of this plane that we're in right now.
The ground's not in the sky. That's how I know that they're not moving under your feet. You see them above head.
No, the ground is not in the sky.
Yeah, the ground's not in the sky.
True, it isn't really in the sky, but there are other objects in the sky that I could say objects that we can explain, like vision.
Earth. You're on the floor. Welcome to the ground.
I know we're on the floor, and I know I haven't fallen off the floor yet. And when I tried to explain that gravity is a force. Yes, tell me.
We're not claiming anything about any edges. We're not claiming Earth is a box floating in outer space. When you look up and you see stars or planets, those are not anything like the Earth. Earth is like the Earth.
Of course.
You live on it.
And if they are round, that doesn't clearly mean that the Earth is round, right?
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, there's no logical correlation between the two.
You can have a puddle and blow bubbles over a puddle. It doesn't mean that the puddle's a bubble.
You can go into a forest and see a bunch of trees. That doesn't mean you are a tree.
Well, yeah, for metaphorical explanations, though. I mean, I don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not trying to, let's say, I'm sorry, by the way, if I interrupted any of you speaking, but I'm not trying to point something out or a flaw or a loophole in the way you guys are talking or explaining things. Matter of fact, I respect you. That's why I asked if I can get more information about the topic that I'm interested in. Flat Earth. Sure. So when I thought about it,
can I help you out a little bit, bro?
Lovely, please. Jordan.
Okay. So this entire cosmology, whatever you want to call it, the idea of the outer space and the planets and the galaxies and the ever-expanding universe, all of that stuff is predicated or is built around the idea that the Earth is a ball in that region, okay? So when we tell you that the Earth is flat and measured and used that way, you can go ahead and dismiss, just wipe your mind of all of that other nonsense, all of that idea built around the ball Earth, because it's not a ball. And so we can get rid of all that, and we can definitely debunk some of that stuff, right? So just start fresh. Don't think about space. Don't think about spheres in that region, millions and light years away, all that stuff. Just forget about that and start fresh. Do you think you could do that?
Of course, and this is what I started with. So definitely I can do that. And that's the premise of each question that I asked, if you remember that, right? I asked you a question, and maybe, by the way, sorry if I'm going to say this quickly, I'll let you continue. When I said whatever I said, the question that I asked based upon logic, not based upon previous experience and previous knowledge about the Earth being round. I asked these questions because if we say there is liquid, the liquid should fall, because liquid cannot easily be contained unless there is something containing it.
You're not. Yeah, we know. That's called the coastline. We don't. Your example in question is building a straw man. Nobody's claiming we live on a cube with water falling off the edges.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You created that on your own. What we're saying is that this particular plane is contained. It is a volume, and it contains everything, the water and the gas. Okay? So the barrier that contains all this, we don't know what it's made of. We don't know the limits of it, but it is a contained environment. So the water is contained, the gas is contained. You are within a realm of some kind that seems to be sealed, as far as we can tell. Okay? Logically, that follows.
It's not that much unlike Minecraft in that, like, we can't go we can only go so far high up before we just don't have enough pressure to push off of. We can only dig so far down before our drills don't get any further. They get stuck. And so we haven't gone all the way to the sides to explore the extremities of that flat world, because Minecraft is a flat world. But we only know the locations that we have explored.
So could there possibly be anything further And how can we make sure that we can explore a little bit more about this now? If we,
it would be speculation, dude.
Yeah, in order to explore it further, we would need to get more and more people on board with testing the ground and figuring out, well, it actually isn't a ball. We need to get together some kind of expedition, and then preferably you would want a government of some country to have a flat earther get in power, and then have the force of that government support that expedition. We're not going to be doing that on our own as individuals.
So you need certain tools to apply your speculation of such matter and reach a proper conclusion of the uncharted territories that we have not yet discovered through flat Earth. You will need other people's help to believe in the theory, or so-called.
Well, there's nothing to believe in. There's nothing to believe in. We don't have theories of what's outside of the known world or anything like that. We stick with the empirical. So because we can prove that the Earth isn't curving, so then we can focus on that until we have enough of a mass with us that we can finance things like icebreakers, helicopters, beacons, so that the information can be transmitted and the public can know what's happening, and it not be like some one guy takes a boat somewhere, dies, and no one knows.
Okay, now you're talking a little bit closer to the idea of understanding a little bit of more logic. Nice. See what I tried to do with the connection of Minecraft, which could be a little bit more absurd, but by the way, the guys in the chat, they're all going mad. I'm gonna say that.
This is what happens when grown men spend their time playing video games, bro.
Wait, so is that a good thing or a bad thing?
There's better things to be done.
Bad thing. It's definitely not a good thing.
So the guys in the chat are all playing video games.
Life is short, and there are much greater.
He was talking about you, I think, with your Minecraft analogies.
I was talking about you, right?
This is the only way I can explain to you guys what I'm trying to talk about, since you guys are distributing a lot of ideas.
You should be asking us questions. Listen, you should be asking us questions as you know nothing about the topic, rather than coming up with straw man arguments, which is aggravating people. Just ask us what we claim, and we'll happily explain it all to you.
Right, you might learn something if you actually ask.
Oh, dear Lord, have I aggravated you guys?
No, it's fine. But if you could learn something about flat,
no ifs. My friend,
can I interject for a second? Can I interject for just 1 second? Now you're going to address square feet here. Square foot, all or nothing fallacy was when you say you either have to say everything someone says is true or nothing is true. That's a fallacy. Neil deGrasse Tyson can say things that are true while also saying things that are not true. He said you can't see the curvature of the Earth from 120,000 feet. That's true, and we can check it because geometrically that's true, and we can just check it geometrically. 128,000 feet above the 8,000 mile diameter ball is nothing. Okay? And just because later on he says the curvature of the Earth and that there's no such thing as fucking gender, just because we said something true once doesn't make everything he ever says true. Stop being a dumb fuck.
I think you're the guy who should keep things respectful now.
I think you should just stay in your lane, dude.
I mean, I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you the truth.
I don't care about whether you're wrong.
I'm not trying to aggravate you.
I'm looking at your roles. I don't see mod there, so shut up.
Yeah, don't try to moderate this chat.
I'm not trying to moderate. I'm having a lot of fun.
Moderator.
Really? Did you like that? You want to talk about moderating?
Trying to do.
You want to talk about moderating? I'm trying to be respectful.
You're trying to. No, I don't.
Yeah, we're not giving you an invite to talk about.
Tell me what I have to do, Jesus.
How about we continue the conversation about something that is more valuable than just trying to judge you, my friend? Because I see that there's no need to judge you anyways, right?
I don't care about your judgment. I don't give two shits about what you think of me.
I'm sorry, but I didn't ask.
Just get back to the point.
You keep mentioning judgment for some reason. I don't care about your judgment.
If we're talking about the topic, and I also wanted to ask another question. Now, since you guys have told me straight, forget everything you know and try to ask questions that relate to more of the premise of what we're talking about, right?
Can I ask you a question?
It depends on who's asking, so really it depends.
What does that matter?
Because I'm not going to take questions from you because I don't want to make you mad.
I'll kick you out. I can do that.
Really, please do that. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, bye. I just disconnected him. I didn't kick him out.
Holy crap.
Fucking super arrogant, huh? God damn.
Hey, Flyer Day.
They're so big, they ride shotgun.
Flyer Day, check this out. Check this out, bro. Yeah. 3 billion active video game players over the past 2 years. The average video game player is 35 years old.
Yeah.
That means that the vast majority of video game players are not children. So the idea that you castigate people as being grown men playing video games, like what was the point of that?
Well, basically, I was just saying that, he was relating a lot of what he was talking about to a video game, So? I mean, I'm just saying.
Video game. Yeah, a lot of video games use rendering technologies or flat planes, or there's a lot of simulators. For example, I trained in a simulator for my gunnery in Bradley. People do it in things like video games are a very important medium. They're actually one of the most artistic mediums that exist and one of the most technically advanced mediums that exist. So why would you say this is what happens when grown men play video games? You're trying to insinuate that grown men playing video games is wrong?
Yeah, you can literally create a computer inside Minecraft. Like, I played Minecraft. Are you shitting on me, bro?
Nah, I'm just saying, he probably spends most of his time playing video games, and that's how he's relating it to life, And he's using only a video game as an example. You know what I mean?
All right, so do you understand the confusion, how you basically castigated a wide swath of people, and then you actually had to narrow it down to what you actually meant?
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to offend nobody.
Well, I think you did.
Okay.
So you see how impressions can sometimes matter more than intentions?
Yeah, I'm not personally offended because I know you, bro, but he might have been offended, and you never know who's listening.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to offend nobody that was listening.
Yeah, that's fair. But see, my point is, if you offend a demographic that represents greater than 60% of the entire population, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially with the casual idea, like it's just connotating that association with video games has some negative connotation. Like it runs the gamut. Pastors play video games. Criminals play video games. Your grandmother plays video games. Your brother plays video games. You see where I'm going with this?
My brother does. He's a big time gamer. Yeah.
A friend of mine, an ex of mine, her grandmother, who was like 90 years old, just relentlessly played Mario Brothers. Like that's all she did. She never stopped. Every time we went over there, she was playing that shit.
Heck yeah.
I'm playing a video game right now.
If you guys ever bored and you want to see, yeah, you know what? Maybe her brothers were teasing her when she was young. You're never gonna beat Mario. She's like, oh, I'm gonna beat Mario before I die.
Dude, when she was young, man, it was like 1930. Like she is old, dude.
Hey, I'll give you guys a quiz, video game history quiz. What was the sociological significance of Tetris on the Game Boy?
Saved us from the Cold War.
Maybe, but Tetris was that little block game where the blocks are different shapes and they fall down from the top, and you gotta fit them together. So the key turning point. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now the key turning point. But the key turning point of that game was it was the first game that crossed the demographic divide between males and females. It's the first game that had an equal amount of females and males playing it. And since that moment, a lot of more women started playing video games.
Right, yeah. My missus loves the Mario version of that. What is it? Yeah, there's a Doctor something.
Dr. Mario?
Yeah.
Wario.
Dr. Mario?
Wario.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. So then it's got the little pebbles that come down, you got to line them all up and all that, similar to Tetris. Yeah, she loves that one.
Tetris is also like generic and easily acceptable by most, whereas some of the earlier games were very hard to use because you had to like type everything and guess everything. And so my mom played all of those games. She got like the first type of computer and the first computer game that you could get.
But are you saying that when you actually go out and measure, are you saying that it's not actually 2.8 based on the curvature that they give?
I like you. You follow along really well. So yeah, that's what we're using. This is a standard model that makes a prediction of how far we can see. Now, when we go and test that, we make the long-distance observations. The long-distance observations supersede that prediction. The horizon, for example, is nowhere near where it should be when we start using optics like high-powered zoom cameras, and the things that should be hidden behind the curvature of the Earth are not. So, again, first, we have observation. When we look at the Earth, it looks flat. When we test a model that says there should be curvature, we don't see that.
Okay, so for the first one, I'd just like to say that there are a lot of examples, I think, of our senses, or because we're limited by the fact we're only human, our scope of what we can see or our understanding is limited. For example, if you put a pencil in water, for example, it'll look bent, but it's not actually bent. And so I would say that, sure, empirically it looks flat, but I think we should always consider that perhaps this is a case because we're limited by the fact that we can only see so far, and that curvature isn't visible.
We're showing you that you can see too far, and that I understand that you're trying to invoke Snell's law and assuming that maybe the light is bending around the globe.
Sorry, I don't know what that is, just to be clear.
Yeah, that's the example when you show a pencil appearing distorted through a glass.
Oh no, I'm using that as an example to say we're only human. We're limited by the fact we just need to make room.
Yeah, we understand the limitations of being human. That's why we use technical equipment to detect these different things, and our understanding of how different wavelengths of light operate in the air. So, using Fermat's principle, we should be able to understand that if the Earth is curved, and the light is going across the Earth curve, the horizon in your mind, which it isn't an Earth curve, but if it's going across that Earth curve, then the Earth would be dropping away from your line of sight, or the light coming from the object at a distance. And so it would never reach your eye on the globe.
Interesting. Sorry, I would just want to focus on the second point that the other person made, which was basically based on the curve value that they give and mathematical model of that. In real life, it's not actually matching the model that you've made based on the curve, right? That we can see much further. That's the second claim, right?
Yes, that's exampled in the image that I just posted.
Well, I think that it would be nice to have is there an example of a link of an actual measurement that was done? And then also, are you guys saying that okay, if I'm standing here and just with my eyes, let's say I see 3 miles, and then I get binoculars, should I be able to see further? Or no?
Most of the time, yes. Almost all the time, yes.
I think. Sorry. I disagree. I think binoculars are going to increase the resolution in the sense of how clear it is. Like if I have a tree that's 500 feet away, I'm not going to be able to see it that clearly with the binoculars. Sure. If having binoculars or telescopes is not going to let me see further.
No, that's not correct. So let me help you out a little bit. So the horizon is a consequence of optics. It's an optical effect. It's not a physical Earth curve. And so we can show this because the ancient Greeks, they assumed the Earth was curved because they didn't have high-power optics like we do today. They looked with their human eyes and assumed the Earth was curved and ignored that perspective existed. That's why they had such bad art. But they assumed the Earth was curved because they didn't understand perspective. And then that's where we got the globe from, the size of the globe from the size of the diffraction limit of the human eye, and that you can literally use the diffraction limit of the human eye to actually calculate the same exact size of the Earth's globe. However, now that we have better optics, we have much bigger optics, and so we can have better resolution and see even further, up to 10 times further beyond the geometric curve, or supposed curve, and so that it destroys the globe. And then when we figured this out, we were like, what happens when we use smaller aperture cameras? And so people started testing small ponds, small flat areas, using small aperture cameras, and turns out we're seeing horizons everywhere.
Oh, so are you guys saying, I'm just trying to make sense of it, that the horizon isn't because of the curvature of the Earth, it's because of something to do with light? Like
the angular resolution limit. The angular resolution limit of the human eye. That's what the horizon is. You can't resolve any more of the surface beyond the horizon. The angle's too small as the floor ramps upwards towards the midpoint of your view. That angle increasingly decreases. So eventually it's going to reach the angle of 0.02, and that's beyond the angular resolution limit. Beyond that horizon line where the surface appears to meet the sky, the surface that's horizontal still exists, but it's within an angle that you can't resolve. It's invisible to you.
Okay. Oh, I guess that makes sense, but
yeah, just look at this hallway picture. Like, the hallway is engineered flat. The ceiling is equidistant from the floor the entire way, but it appears to converge together into a point. That's purely optical. That point is called the vanishing point, and is an unresolvable point. However, if you take the walls away, then all of a sudden, like the upper picture, once the walls disappear, that point stretches out into a line. That's the horizon line. And that's an unresolvable line, and you can't resolve anything beyond that line. However, there might be things that are too small for your eyes to discern, but a bigger aperture camera can discern that small thing at the horizon that your eyes couldn't discern, and so that allows us to see over 10 times further than the geometric curve would allow if it was a geometric curve. The thing is, no one ever established that the horizon was a geometric curve. It was just assumed.
Oh, I see. If I'm going to be honest, I don't think I know enough about optics to have a reasonable comeback to that. I think what you guys are saying is right, and I can't really well, I'm taking in what you guys are saying, but I simply don't know enough about optics to accept what you guys are saying. Is it possible if we could go back to that analogy of the man on the beach, or that example? Specifically, I'm referring to if you have a boat. I'm sure you've heard it before. You have a boat that's far away, and as it's going further and further, instead of it becoming smaller and smaller, instead it's the very top of the sail that you start. No, it's the bottom that you start to see less and less of, and as it goes further and further away, it disappears from bottom to top.
Because the bottom of that boat is on that surface beyond the horizon that you can't resolve. So the bottom of that boat is also disappearing into that angle. So the boat looks like it's being disappeared from the bottom up. The reason why it looks like it's going down is just like the ceiling in Drace's example. That's perspective. So it kind of does both. It goes down because of perspective and gets cut off from the bottom when it's gone beyond the horizon. Remember, the horizon being the limitation of your view of that surface that the boat's on. Now that the boat's on it and keeps going beyond the horizon at distance, the bottom of that boat's in that angle. You can't see it.
Mm. If I have a boat that's flat, say, I'm sorry, but if you have a flat surface, right, as it's going further, shouldn't it just be getting smaller?
Look at this little image. Look at this little image I posted up. It's a little GIF. It just shows you how, as you move away from the surface, that surface gets compressed into a smaller and smaller visual angle. And so, as you look out, that angle for each surface area gets smaller and smaller and smaller and compressed into a smaller and smaller angle until it reaches the 0 point of your vision. And then it can't compress anymore because it's compressed into something you can't see. And that's the same applies to the sky. And where those two light rays meet, where they're coming into your eye, they overlap and it becomes an undiscernible line.
Okay. I'm trying to understand. I don't think I quite get it. Sorry.
It's okay. I posted a video or a link to Life is Short, which is a YouTube channel that he did an extensive, basically a study on this, where he went into multiple different examples using the math, and you can even observe this effect up really tall buildings, and I'll give you a video of that. So this building is flat. It's not curved, naturally, but when you go really close up to it with a small aperture camera, all of a sudden it appears like it's curved, because what appears like a horizon appears to come closer and closer the closer you get to the surface, because the aperture of the camera is very small, and it can only see so far off the surface based on how close it is to the surface and the angles to the surface reaching the camera. At a certain point, those angles are not going to be conducive to allow you to see more of the surface, and there appears to be a horizon, even though the building is not a ball.
Okay, I think I kind of see. I'm still having trouble understanding how, just back to the same thing, on how on a flat surface you could possibly have that boat disappearing from bottom to the top. I still don't get the explanation.
Yeah, there's a compound cause for that, because when you actually watch a boat disappear into the horizon, 90% of the time or more, you just see it getting smaller and smaller until it merges into the horizon. That's what most people see 90% of the time. However, if you use a high-powered camera and you zoom in with a digital zoom, you can see the boat appear sometimes to disappear bottom up, and there are compound causes for that, because there are compounding causes to what you see in the distance. So, to the Fermat's principle, we
What's
see it's how light behaves. So light will always take the shortest path, and so it's the foundation for what created Snell's law, or Snell's law came first, but Fermat's principle is why Snell's law works. And basically, it means that when you look at things at a distance, it can get distorted. And so some of those distortions include bottom-up disappearances. And so you don't need any curve to do that. You just need the light to do small deviations, and then you could lose the bottom of the image.
Oh, that's an interesting point. So what I'm getting is that you're saying that light takes the shortest path, and because of what was it again? Refractions
light takes the shortest path, and sometimes you have temperature inversion, sometimes you have temperature differences over the water or over the land, and so you're looking from a certain temperature and pressure on land out onto the ocean, which is a certain temperature and pressure, and so there's going to be a slight difference there that could cause slight downward directionality, and that slight bias would cause a loss of the information at the bottom, because that information hit the water instead of getting to your eye.
Okay, I see. Okay, now I'm actually kind of curious. So you guys obviously don't believe the Earth is round. Do you guys have like a picture of like how you think the Earth looks like flat, of course, but I'm curious to see if you guys have a model of what you think the Earth actually looks like.
We have not constructed a model of the world. We have had people create maps and stuff, but the problem is we are empiricists, and so we don't endorse any maps or models of the world unless we can verify those to be true.
And good maps cost lots of money to make.
Well, of course, yes, but do you see the Earth being like? Now I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble imagining how you guys think the Earth would look like if it were flat.
Because you've been conditioned. That's due to conditioning. Because we're all given, this idea that it is possible to conceive of the entirety of reality from a third-person perspective. And it's just simply not true. Nobody can ever determine. There are too many unknowns to be able to say this is what the entirety of reality should look like from a certain vantage point.
Yeah, it's like an ant trying to figure out what an elephant looks like.
Just think of it like this. They gave you an idea, and you have that idea in your mind, but reality might be more complex than the idea that they gave you.
It always is more complex. I mean, science is full of uncertainty, and I don't think there's denying that. Like right now, I think the Earth is round, but am I going to deny that there's always a possibility that it's flat? I mean, you've given me a lot of evidence, and trying to convince me that it's flat. So I agree
We're not trying to convince you. We don't want you to believe us.
Okay.
We don't want to create believers. We are not faith earthers. Those are those people who believe the Earth is flat. We're empiricists. So we want you to listen to what we have to say and be like, that's interesting. I'll go check the reality, see if it conforms to my previous belief system, and see if that's true. Like, that's what we did. We don't want people to just believe us. We want them to test their own beliefs and then come to their own conclusions. We want critical thinking.
Okay, that actually is a good point. Now I want to ask, do you think, are there any experiments I could do? Like, for one, I'm not that far away from the beach, and I think it would be nice to go and see. Because I think someone said that 90% of the time we actually don't see the boat disappearing from the bottom to the top. I want to test that out. But are there any other empirical tests I can do to try to falsify the round Earth model?
What I would recommend is long-distance observations. Find yourself a telescope or a good camera, and then play with looking over the water from time to time, and you'll have a lot of fun with it, because all of a sudden you'll be like, wait, I shouldn't be able to see the boat. And then you'll be looking at the tracker and you'll be like, yeah, it's way too far away. And then that evidence you can bring to us, and it'll become part of our mountain of evidence. And then, like, it's just a fun experience. It gets you closer to nature, and then unleashes that wonderment that you had as a child when the world was all new and you didn't think you knew everything. That's part of what the globe does. It makes you think you know everything, and everything's kind of discovered, and there's only these small nuances that need to be addressed, and you need to be a super genius to address those nuances. But those nuances are actually just within the pseudoscientific story, because they're trying to patch holes and errors within the story. They're not actually advancing science at this point, and they divorced this empiricism of science that brought us most of our current technology with Einstein. Like, most of our current technology, or the basis for it, came from the 1800s, and any innovations on that are just slight modifications to it, not because they innovated some genius idea. It's mostly because they marketed it well.
Well, that reminds me of a quote by Newton, who said that if I've seen this far, it's not because of me alone, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants. But okay, I think I'm going to maybe do some experimenting, but how exactly would I measure it with a camera or a telescope?
Oh, yeah. What you would do is you would take the telescope or the camera, you'd go to the water's edge, you'd record how high your observation point is from the water, and then you would look into the distance. I would recommend looking up the coastline if there's an inlet or something along those lines, and so you could get markers to denote the distance based on the geography of the location, which you know because this is where you live or where you are, and you can figure out how far away those markers are and how far you can see. And so based on the curve calculators, you could see how the Earth should curve away, but you're not seeing that. And then once you have established a point where you're seeing beyond where the globe Earth should allow you to see, then the only excuse of the globe believer is, well, I believe the light is bending around, which we know it's not from all our experimentation or tests, because we use infrared to test that. But you can do a similar thing by, when you observe and take these pictures at long distance, all the different colors at a distance are different wavelengths of light, and different wavelengths of light refract at different rates. And so if the light is all bending around the globe to make it appear flat and measure flat and be practically used as flat, then we would be able to see a difference in all those wavelengths. We would be able to see a distortion in all those wavelengths. They would be changing height. All the white light would start to disperse. You would the whole world would look pretty gay at a distance, rainbow colored.
I could just show you a really quick example of an observation. You know, it will give you an idea of what you would kind of want to do. Who are we talking to? Presidentes Master?
Yep, we were talking to President. Whatever the rest is.
You're still listening, President? Yes?
I don't know. He could answer on.
What's up, Berserker? Good to see you, man.
What's up? Thank you, mate. Good to see you. Yeah, President is Master. Yeah, he was the one of the three, only one who was polite. The other two were muted because all the time they dropped the fuck word and were not civil.
Oh, well,
but President Master was very polite.
Yeah, I mean, I just got here, but yeah, I just got the tail end of it. Sounded polite from what I heard.
Yeah. And he was interested.
Yeah,
he is interested. He's still here. Yeah, maybe he's looking something in the web. DJ, that's you, right? Yeah, DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. AI Lord or Jedi, I think, told me to drop a GIF, which was good for him and for Trace in the main Discord or something like that. The main chat. Main server. In the chat of the main server, I just